Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world: movies, movie news, TV, streaming, all sorts of good stuff. Robert Meyer Burnett is not here. He won't be here for another week or so. He's got the Petri dish. So he's feeling under the weather, but he'll be back soon, don't you worry. But joining us, sitting over here, is Chris Carr. Chris, how you doing?
I am doing great. I just got emailed that I booked a commercial, so I'm having a great time.
Woo! Yeah. Can you tell us what the commercial's for?
I will off air.
Okay, fantastic.
Just to be safe.
Congratulations.
Thank
you can buy me a house now.
And spoiler alert, Aaron Cummings is here too, like filling in for Rob today. Thanks for being here, Aaron.
Well, I keep sending little care packages to Rob that have just a sprinkling of COVID on it to keep him sick so that I can keep coming back. But Rob, hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I thought when we were at CinemaCon, I'm like, why is she kissing him on the cheek so much? Like every time she says hello.
Yeah,
she's never acted Italian before.
Well, and you know what? It's a little gloomy today in Los Angeles. I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but and Joey Bishop has a little seasonal affect disorder, so she's a little tired today. I know that she doesn't have her usual pep that everyone's used to.
The big energy ball that she normally is.
Exactly. So she'll be sleeping on my lap during the show.
And of course, joining you guys in the live chats today, he'll be chatting it up with you in there. Every once in a while, popping up a camera. Ray Orr is here, everybody. Ray, how you doing?
So, what about that Halo finale, huh?
I didn't see it yet. Don't say anything. I didn't see it yet. I was too busy working.
Also, Chris, can I eat Rob's brownies? Those things are obviously going to be old by the time he gets back.
Wait a second.
Wait, there's brownies?
Yeah, she brought him brownies for his birthday.
I got him brownies for his birthday.
Oh, I was out of the country.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll allow it. That's fine. I'm like, wait a minute.
You had been here?
What the fuck is going on? Where's my brownies? Okay, that's right. I wasn't in
because
town.
remember, I can go get more. They're just Trader Joe's.
By the way, so Ray shows up today, and he was late coming in the office a little bit. I'm like, where's Ray? My phone rings. It's Ray. He goes, yeah, come down and help me carry up this box. And it was my new pop, my new Iron Man pop. See, that's a regular pop. I thought this was the biggest kind of pop they made, but Ray found me this pop.
Mega pop.
The mega pop.
It'll just get bigger and bigger.
It'll just get bigger and bigger. Anyway, guys, great to have you here. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break the show up into two parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. How do you get a live comment or question on the show? It's easy. Number one, you got to be watching live. But then once we get near the end of the final topic of the day, we're going to announce that we're opening up the super chats. Once we do, you guys can fire in your thoughts, opinions, questions, observations, theories, whatever you guys want to do, and we'll read those off in the second half of the show. But before we get into anything else, there are a couple of off the tops that we should talk about. And the first one is this. You know, in an era where we have like Marvel TV shows and we have DC TV shows, there was a stretch there of some very big popular properties where like my three favorite superhero related properties that were on television were none of the majors. It was The Boys, it was Doom Patrol, and it was The Umbrella Academy. I love The Umbrella Academy. Now, again, full disclosure, I'm a little biased. One of the producers of Umbrella Academy plays in our Star Wars role-playing game group. But in my defense, I was pronouncing my love of this show before I knew he was one of the producers of the show. I had no idea at the time. I love this thing. And every season, I was saying this before, they do their seasons right. They do their seasons the way Supernatural would do their seasons. Every season has a story. By the end of the season, they bring that story to conclusion and then use the end of the last episode to tease and cliffhang what the next season will be about. So, because I hate it when TV shows, we go through a season of television and you get to the end of the season, it's like, wait, so nothing's resolved? It's just like it's the end of another episode. Umbrella Academy does it great. Of course, they had that big cliffhanger at the end of last time with the Sparrow Academy. And the Sparrow Academy is back because the new trailer for season 3 of the Umbrella Academy has now dropped. And one of my, I haven't grinned and smiled and yipped like this in a while with the, you know, even trailers now have little post-credit scenes because they'll do a trailer, blah, 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 coming to Amazon, or blah, 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 coming to Disney Plus, blah, blah, coming to Amazon. Then the little post-credit after it, Pogo's back and he's in the Sons of Anarchy. And it just made my heart smile and it made me happy. This trailer looked great. Anyway, Chris, you had a chance to see this trailer before we started the show today. What did you think about it?
Oh, I think this looks excellent. And I went into our RPG group honestly a little nervous because season 1 of Umbrella Academy, I had been vocal on the internet about, I have some problems with this as a comic book adaptation. Here are my issues. And I worked for a company that was much more clickbaity. But season 2 totally won me over. I love this series. I've watched it over and over and over again and binged it multiple times. I'm so hyped. I got to read some of the script for this season too because Logan was up for a part. We're gonna watch it, but he's gonna yell about a couple things during it.
How did I not get that role?
It was the best comment or call from our manager ever of like, "Hey, bud." So they went a different one. He was like, "No." But I'm really excited about this. Everything looks great, and like you said, Pogo, justice for Pogo.
Yes, justice for
I'm so
Pogo,
hyped
indeed.
to see him back in here. I love that character, and I can't wait to see what they do at the Sparrow Academy.
Sitting beside you, of course, Aaron, you had a chance to watch this. What do you think about the characters? You don't watch the Umbrella Academy, do you?
And you know what? I'm actually surprised that I don't watch it because I love The Boys and I love Doom Patrol. And I've watched all the episodes of both of those shows. And for whatever reason, I just never started watching Umbrella Academy. It just didn't pull me in. And if I had seen a trailer like this for the first season, which I don't remember seeing any trailers, I think that I definitely would have. But now I'm so excited because, Chris, you said that this new season drops June
22nd.
June 22nd. So I have plenty of time to catch up with the first 2 seasons because, yes, this trailer looks so great. First of all, I love placement of music, and Ballroom Blitz by Sweet is such a fantastic high energy song, and it goes so great with all the we saw that there's so much action, really great fight scenes, interesting new ways of doing fight scenes, and not being familiar with the show, I can only imagine that. So is the Sparrow Academy, are they sort of doppelgangers of each other? Are they mystic cousins?
Okay, so
I know it's a different timeline.
See, that's the basic thing. See, season 2, the Umbrella Academy has gone back in time, the 1950s, 1960s.
Oh, great.
And
Love
then
that.
at the end of the season, they prevail, they win, and then they come back to the regular time expecting to go home and find their father and, you know, an empty house. But instead they go back and time has been altered, and now this is not the Umbrella Academy.
What
This
happens
is
when
the
you
Sparrow
do time
Academy.
travel? I mean, every time I travel in time, I come back and I'm like, whoa, where's Rob?
Why does my dad have a secret family? What is
Exactly.
this?
Well, and then the Sparrow cast looks awesome.
Yeah, they look great, and I just loved everything I saw, so I'm super excited for this. Question is for you guys. What did you think about the new trailer for the upcoming season of Umbrella Academy? Maybe you haven't been following the show. Maybe you have. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, let's do one more off the top, and that one is this. You know, we've been talking a bunch about recently about these streaming services getting ready to offer paid tier levels that include commercials. So you can pay, I'm just going to make up some numbers here. You can pay $15 a month for commercial free, or you can pay $9.99 a month and have some commercials. And we've talked about that on the show quite a bit because Disney Plus is looking at doing it. Netflix is looking at doing it. Obviously, Hulu has been doing it for a long time. Peacock already does it. And whenever it comes up, it seems like the overwhelming response we hear from people that I expected was, I'm not going to watch commercials. No, I'm never going to do that. That's my thought too. Like, I don't mind them offering this tier. That's great. If you can offer a tier that's a little bit cheaper and give people a choice to get it, that's great. But I'll never get that. I don't want to watch commercials. And everybody in the chats always say, yeah, I don't want to watch commercials. Well, it turns out that not only are a few people going to get the tier that offers commercials, Disney is saying the majority of people who subscribe to Disney Plus are going to go with the cheaper ad-supported versions of it. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety, and they wrote the following. Disney is anticipating that over the long term, the majority of Disney Plus customers will pick the lower cost ad-supported plan, which is set to launch later this year. Based on our Hulu experience, we actually have more AVOD, that's ad-supported video on demand, than SVOD, subscription-based video on demand subscribers. Disney CFO Christine McCarthy said, speaking Wednesday at the 9th annual Moffitt-Nathanson Media and Communications Summit. They're not very good at picking names.
That's a mouthful.
We expected the same percentage for both Disney Plus and Hulu just based on the experience curve that we've witnessed. A few years ago, Hulu revealed that, get this, 70% of Hulu's viewers were on the ad-supported plan. I did not know that. With the remainder on the pricier, more expensive ad-free tiers. So this is fascinating to me because if you had asked me, do I think the majority of people will get the slightly less expensive but have commercials version of Disney Plus, or the slightly more expensive but commercial-free experience of Disney Plus, I would have said, oh, my guess is probably 75 to 80% will probably get the ad-free one. But Disney's saying, no, it's actually probably going to be the opposite of that. Our Hulu pattern has shown us that like 70%, 7 out of 10 Hulu subscribers use the cheaper one and watch commercials. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I'm just surprised. That's not what I thought they would do. Chris, you hear this report coming out of Disney. Disney's saying more people are going to take the ad-supported one. Number one, do you think they're correct in that assessment, judging by their Hulu experience? And number two, what do you think that tells us?
I do think they're correct in this because we have all these different streaming options. If you are looking at nickel and diming your budget, taking that slightly cheaper option is going to add up over time. I am cheap as hell. I am definitely going to opt for this. One, because I like to save my money, right? I'm very, very cheap. I'm very, very poor. But also, just the actor bonus of I get to, one, do my research. If you want to be in commercials, you got to see them, right? I need to know the current climate. And two, I get to support my friends when they're in them and be like, oh my gosh, let me take pictures and post on Instagram and see how great you're doing. I think the average person, though, is going to buy into this kind of thing, even though most people don't want commercials, even though they don't want that popping up in their movie, just to save a few bucks, because this has become more and more like cable, right?
Yeah.
Down to the commercials, but the price tag as well. When you add all these up, it's really, really expensive. So I think all of these streaming options, people are going to go for the cheaper one.
Aaron, you see this report. Let me ask you, when you and Tom are at home, do you guys have, for whichever of the streaming services you have, do you guys have the ad-free tiers? Do you use the ad-based tiers? What do you think this tells us about viewers in the streaming services?
So for Hulu, we have the ad one, but also on Hulu, and this is what's interesting is I'm thinking about the types of shows that we watch on our different platforms, because with Hulu, a lot of the shows that we would watch were shows that are, network shows, half-hour sitcoms, procedurals, whatever. We would go and watch those on Hulu, and I expect there to be commercials. It's sort of the broadcast type programming. I'm just maybe ingrained. My mind is set that I'm going to expect to see commercials, so it's not as jarring. Whereas when I'm watching something like WandaVision, for example, I don't expect to see a commercial. And what I'm looking at this from a writer's perspective, obviously the way that writing has always been for television is you write in acts. Every episode, whether it's a half-hour comedy or a 1-hour drama, has 5 acts when it's broken down. And those acts are created to have a commercial break.
Right.
But as we've moved into a streaming into the streaming way of viewing, writers are not beholden to those act breaks because there are not commercial breaks. We don't need to sell toilet paper. And so the writing style has actually evolved for these streaming platforms. And so it makes me wonder, okay, well then how is that going to work? Because you're not going to, you can't just go, okay, we know there's going to be an act break at about the 5.5 minute mark. So we're going to insert our paper towel commercial here. And I've already seen people in the chat saying, well, I hope that they don't interrupt it mid-sentence. And you're right. This is going to require, for those types of shows that are not specifically written with commercial act breaks in mind at the outset, I'm just curious how they're going to insert
It's not going to be hard because we actually have to do that now with the John Campea Show. So we go into, like when we're putting up the podcast or whatever, right? We have the ability, because if you don't tell the podcasting service where to put the ad breaks, it'll just drop them randomly like mid-sentence. Mm-hmm. So what we do is we go in and we can scroll through, say, oh, here's a natural little break, insert ad there. Da-da-da. There's another little natural break, insert an ad there.
Got it.
So I think it'll probably be not bad, but it is interesting about the fact that even writers have to approach it with a little different of a mindset. Now, there are 3 tiers of the streaming services. There's the premium ad-free tier. Mm-hmm. There's the cheaper ad-based tier. And then for Ray Aura, there's the John Campea tier. Because Ray just comes over to my house and loads up whatever streaming he wants to watch at the time. And guys, the question is for you.
Who are you calling cheap, Chris?
That's true. You got me beat.
Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Do you think Disney's right in saying that the majority of people are going to sign up for like maybe $4 or $5 cheaper, but with commercials in their stuff? Does that surprise you? Does it not? Whatever your guys' thoughts are, jump down into the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys, with that down, let's move into our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really rather simple. You see, you guys come up with them. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic on the show, just go anytime 24/7 to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic comes from Kate Connors. Hey, you see, Kevin Feige said that Secret Invasion event is during the blip when half of the universe was decimated by Thanos, and will explore the events that happened in that period. But how? Because Nick Fury is blipped. Am I missing something or what? Keep up the good work.
All right, thanks for sending that in. And yeah, so the Secret Invasion has been coming. I'll be honest with you, I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. I think kind of an overrated comic book story. I'm not big on Secret Invasion.
Oh, man.
To be honest, I'm not all that big on Secret Wars either. But at any
Somewhere
rate,
Rob is just like losing his mind.
Granted, the stuff that what happens with Tony Stark and getting kicked out of S.H.I.E.L.D., that part, the human drama part of it's kind of interesting. I'm not a huge fan of Secret Invasion, but I was really fascinated when they announced that they were going to be doing a Secret Invasion series on Disney Plus. Now, obviously, just like everything else in movies, this Secret Invasion is not going to be the Secret Invasion from the comic books. There's going to be some thematic similarities, but just like Age of Ultron was nothing like the Age of Ultron thing in the comic books, just like Civil War was very different from the Civil War in the comic books, just like Days of Future Past was very different from Days of Future Past in the comic book, this will be very different, but it'll follow some thematic similarities. And the interesting thing here is that they are actually going backwards. They're going to tell this story, according to Kevin Feige, when it happens in the blip. This comes to us from the good folks over at Screen Rant, who wrote the following. Feige has recently detailed when the Secret Invasion television series will be taking place within the MCU timeline. Very little information has been previously revealed about the project or how much of it will adhere to the original source material. According to the Marvel president, the upcoming show will feature during the blip when half of the universe was decimated by Thanos, and will explore the events that happened in that period. All right, so that again comes to some Screen Rant. I'm ready to move past the blip and everything that has to do with Thanos and the Infinity Saga and stuff like that. But still, if Kevin Feige's doing this, there must be an interesting story there. But as the person wrote in the email, the really interesting thing about this is, okay, time out. Nick Fury and Maria Hill are in this series. They got snapped. They're gone. They're not alive. They've ceased to be. They are an ex-parrot. They aren't there anymore. Jonathan got that reference. Jonathan knew that reference. And bonus to those of you who got that reference too. But I mean, so what are they going to do? Now, I've heard some people say that, well, the Nick Fury that got snapped wasn't actually Nick Fury. That was a Skrull version of Nick Fury. The problem with that is that really? So Nick Fury took that sacred pager that Captain Marvel gave him in Captain Marvel and just handed it off to somebody else? I don't think so. I don't think that at all. So here's my thinking. If they do in Secret Invasion say that the one that got snapped was actually, one of the Skrulls, that's them retconning themselves, because there's no way they made that post-credit scene thinking that, well, we're actually going to say Nick Fury was around. Or maybe the Nick Fury, let me propose this. Maybe the Nick Fury and Maria Hill we see in this series are copies of Nick Fury. Like, it's not the real Nick Fury and not the real Maria Hill. Maybe, I don't know. Still, it's going to be interesting to see what they do here. Maybe, I don't know, the Skrulls use secret technology to bring them back and all that kind of stuff. Also, of course, the big problem, the difference between the comics and the MCU is that the Skrulls are nice people. In the movies. They're good guys. They're, Nick Fury saved them. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see how they approach this. Chris, the big confounding thing here is it takes place during the blip. How on earth can Nick Fury be there? Two questions. Number one, where's your anticipation level like for Secret Invasion? Number two, how do you think they're going to explain this Nick Fury thing?
I mean, okay, I'm excited about this, but at the same time, this does feel where things are getting a bit convoluted in the MCU. And it does feel like there have been a few oopsie doodles of, no, we meant to do that. No, we totally meant to do it. It's like when you're running and you trip and then you kind of keep doing the little jog, right? That's how I feel this is happening.
That was my style. That's my running style.
It's just how you do it. So I feel like there's a little of that happening here. It could be, a Skrull as Nick Fury the entire time here. I'm like you. I don't think he'd give away that pager because of how powerful Carol is and how close he and Carol are.
Yeah.
Too. I think that is a very, very, holy thing to him. So I do think maybe if this is during the blip, this is perhaps a Skrull taking on the Nick Fury guys.
Right. So it's not the real Nick Fury.
It's not the real Nick Fury.
Yeah. I'm wondering that myself. Yeah.
But then are we going to get into shenanigans later then where it's post blip and then we have the aftermath of the Skrull and then Nick Fury coming together? And also, how is the Skrull Kree War going to factor into all of this? Because like you were saying, the Skrulls in this are good guys. So have they been infiltrating Earth to flee the Kree? Have they been, or is there a separate sect of Skrulls who are baddie Skrulls? There's a lot of things that could go on here. What I'm most interested to see is if they delve into the release of the Raft prisoners at all. Because we've had the Raft mentioned throughout the MCU, specifically in the television shows, but we hear it every now and then in the MCU. So I'm wondering if that's going to factor into this too, of all of the things that happen and go wrong.
Well, because Abomination was on the Raft,
exactly.
And now he's in the She-Hulk trailer.
Yep.
Well, in Shang-Chi we see, and in the She-Hulk trailer, he's clearly out now.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if there's any aftermath to that. Obviously, the things with the Baxter Building, we're not quite there yet because we need a Fantastic Four to really talk about the Baxter Building.
Yeah, because Reed Richards plays a pretty important role in Secret Invasion.
He's huge in that.
Yes,
so
very
we know
important
it's going to be very, very different from the comic. So I'm just interested to see what they're doing since they're already taking big swings away from the blueprint they have.
And of course, also playing a big role, especially near the end of the story, Norman Osborn. Mm-hmm. And we don't have a Norman Osborn in here right now in a particular proper way. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. Aaron, with your deep level of knowledge and research into the history of Secret Invasion.
Yes. I would say that I am the preeminent expert on the panel of all things MCU. And see, that's the thing. This is where it gets messy. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who is in the industry and is And I just assumed, he's very much a fanboy as I would imagine from the outside. And I just went, oh, well, blah, 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 MCU. And he goes, I just can't. He goes, I feel like it's, season 6 of Game of Thrones. And at this point, it would just be too hard for me to jump in. And he goes, I don't even know. He goes, I feel like if I were to try to start watching MCU stuff right now, it would be like joining a game of double dutch and I don't know how to jump rope. And so hearing you talk about Secret Invasion, and I have watched most of the MCU
and
movies.
You are in a comic book cinematic universe. You're in the DC multiverse.
I'm in the DC
You're a character
multiverse.
in Flash. You so even you are having a hard time keeping up with this.
Yeah, and that's the thing where the phase 4 is getting a little convoluted is a great word for it, and so from my perspective, I think it's fantastic for people who understand the history and have read all the comic books and know exactly what's happening before before they watch it and are following along. That's great. But for those of us who aren't, that just want to enjoy the new story and be like, oh, what's going on in the MCU? There's a lot going on, and it can be a bit overwhelming for the people outside of the bubble. And you know what? Here's the thing. And what I love about Kevin Feige and what he's done with the MCU is that he has created shows that you can easily jump into that game of double dutch, having never seen anything before, and you can follow along. And so I don't have a problem with there being some properties that he goes, hey, this is for the hardcore. And if you're not that, then you're probably not going to be able to follow along as well. I don't have a problem with that. I just go, I don't think this is for me then.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? We're finding out that the Secret Invasion storyline will take place during the blip, which is already right off the top a massively different thing than the story in the comic books. What do you think they're going to do with it, and how do you think they're going to incorporate Nick Fury into it with him being blipped out? Anyway, whatever your guys' thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, before we move on to the next topic here today, we're going to take a second and thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, the great folks over at ExpressVPN. Guys, we want to take a minute and thank the sponsor of this video, ExpressVPN. Now, you guys have all already heard about ExpressVPN. I've talked about it a number of times in my videos. It's the best way to protect your privacy online and to give you that security online that we all need. And there's another practical reason why viewers of this show love using ExpressVPN. Take Netflix, for example. You see, thousands of shows on Netflix are only available outside of the US, so you need to change your country if you want to access them, and ExpressVPN lets you do just that. Because what the ExpressVPN app does is it encrypts your data and reroutes it through server locations of your choice. This not only protects your data, but it also lets you control which country you want Netflix to think that you're in. ExpressVPN lets you choose from over 90 different countries, so every time you run out of stuff to watch, you can just fire up the app on your laptop or smart TV, switch your country, and hit connect. And once you refresh your page, you'll get a brand new selection of shows. It's just that simple. And those reasons and many more is why ExpressVPN is the #1 rated VPN provider by publishers like TechRadar and The Verge. So guys, visit expressvpn.com/Campea right now and get 3 extra months of their service for free. That's expressvpn.com/Campea. Go to expressvpn.com/Campea to learn more. And thank you to our friends over at ExpressVPN for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Guys, listen, having a VPN can be great for your online privacy and anonymity, all that kind of stuff. But also, when you support our sponsors, you're supporting us on the show. So go on down to the description of the video. You'll see the link to them with the promo codes, and go give ExpressVPN a shot. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
Our second topic comes from Victor Von Dude. Cannes can be a fickle crowd and sometimes quite cruel, with audiences having no problem walking out of a screening. Ugh, the French. But Top Gun 2 just got what they're calling a rapturous 5-minute standing ovation at the festival. I know you thought this movie came too late, but what do you think of the response and reviews it's getting so far? Was it worth the wait?
Yeah, look, I have been very open and very clear for a long time about why. Why are they doing another Top Gun this late in the game? This was a movie they should have done with Tony Scott 15 years ago, right? And they moved. I said, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'll be interested and I'll be seeing it. Blah. Then the trailer started to come out in 2019, and I thought, oh, the trailers look interesting, but still too little, too late, blah, blah. But as we started getting closer to the actual release coming out, I started getting a little bit of enthusiasm for it. And I was kind of looking forward to it going to CinemaCon, that they were going to show us Top Gun. At least last CinemaCon. Because last CinemaCon, a little over a year ago, when Aaron and I went to Vegas, and they showed us the first 15 minutes of Top Gun Maverick. And that was the moment, about a year ago, that I went from going, to, holy crap, this movie is going to be awesome. So it was with great enthusiasm we went to CinemaCon this year to watch the full movie, and they showed us the full thing, and it blew away every expectation I had. Like, I came out online on social media and said, this movie far exceeds the original Top Gun in every way. Except for maybe in the love interest stuff. But that's just me. That's just me personally. But in every other way, completely, this movie so outshines the original, it's crazy. And as of right now, Top Gun Maverick, with closing in on 150 reviews, is holding a 97% on Rotten Tomato.
Yay.
Which, yeah,
Deserves it, baby. Deserves
yeah,
it.
there you go. And speaking of ovations, that fickle Canis crowd, this is something we were talking about before that we went back on air. They responded to it really well. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety who wrote the following. It was an extravaganza that included the appearance of 8 fighter jets bellowing red, white, and blue smoke behind them as crews and other members of the film's cast looked on from the red carpet below. Those colors are featured prominently in both the French and American flags in a fitting piece of symmetry. The festival crowd joyously interacted with the film during the screening, cheering and gasping at stunts. An overwhelming response came when Val Kilmer, who starred as Cruise's nemesis Iceman in the original film, appeared. The screening ended with a 5-minute standing ovation from the crowd. Now, I've read other reports. Remember, we've heard things about, in my screening, the crowd stood and cheered for 20 minutes. It was really more like 15 seconds. But this is Variety, and I read other reports saying it exceeded 5 full minutes that crowd at the Cannes Film Festival got up and just gave it this ravenous response, huge thing. People loved it. And I got to tell you, I completely see that because the energy in the room at CinemaCon when the final credits started to play in Top Gun Maverick, it was that kind of energy. Except for these were theater owners and they're like, this movie's going to make us a lot of money. Yeah. This is awesome. And to be honest, that's another topic for another time. I'm not sure how much money this movie will make, but I love the movie. It's pretty awesome. So it's great to see. It's great to hear, especially at a film festival like Cannes that often has, like you said, some very, very fickle responses to it. It's great to see this kind of response for it. Aaron, I know, this movie was very personal to you, but you really enjoyed this film. What do you think about the response it's getting from audiences?
Well, okay. So first of all, if you enjoy film, and obviously you do or you not be watching this show, I am going to ask you to do me a favor. Put it on your vision board, put it into your manifest, pray to, sweet baby Jesus, whatever you do to create the things that you want in your life. I want you to put it into your vision that you will attend the Cannes Film Festival at some point in your life, whether it is for your own project that you are in or just as a film lover. I have been to the Cannes Film Festival.
Did you guys show Bitch Slap at Cannes? I can't remember.
So we showed Bitch Slap as part of the market because there is an international market going on at the same time.
Yes.
But we went for the film festival as well, and we did lots of red carpet stuff and appearances and parties, and we had a huge premiere there, and it was there was yachts involved, and it was it was like another world that I sometimes feel like was a dream. But I went to Cannes for Bitch Slap, but I also went twice just as a person who wants to go and experience it. And I have walked the Croisette, which is the big street that is, you just billboards everywhere. It's the main. And then the Palais, which is where all the big premieres are held, is magical, and sitting in that theater, and when they have the Palme d'Or, with the
crest,
leaves,
yeah. The laurels.
The laurels. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It is a thrill like no other. And as someone who is a lover of film, find a way at some point in your lifetime to go. And yes, being in the Palais when a film gets a standing ovation is magical, and it is sort of a thing at the Cannes Film Festival for certain films to get these obnoxiously long standing ovations. Pan's Labyrinth famously got a 22-minute standing ovation. The Artist got, I believe, an 8-minute standing ovation. These were both films that went on to be incredible award winners. And so, yes, it does speak volumes that the notoriously fickle crowd who also booed movies like Taxi Driver and Wild at Heart, that they gave this such an outstanding ovation. But I am not surprised. Anyone who was with us at CinemaCon saw my emotional outburst of love and passion for this film. I think this movie is going to make all the money. You say, I don't know how much money it's going to make. It's going to make all the money. It's not going to make Avatar money, but it will make all the money. I'm thrilled. I'm so happy. And I think that this movie is coming exactly when it's supposed to.
All right, Chris, you did not love Top Gun as much as the rest of us did. But what do you think about the reports? The critic reviews are now coming in. The response from Cannes. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I want to point out Body Snatcher in the chat brought up another film that got a 15-minute standing ovation. A film I love, Belle, the anime.
Oh, yeah.
So most of the time, I'm right with Cannes. I'm right with these people for their standing ovations. Like I've said, I subjectively understand that this is an excellent, excellent film. It's just not one for me, right? And not all films are made for you. That's the whole thing.
Right.
I don't really enjoy movies that are about military members. That's just not my thing. So I completely understand why it's really, really hitting with people, though. You do have a nostalgia factor, right? And sometimes, for me, I think the film banks on that a little too much. You talked about that, too, just certain moments being repetitive. But this is a beautiful cinematic film, and what a return to the movies when
Yeah.
you see this movie. I mean, and I say this as somebody who's not in love with it. You should go to theaters and see this. You should experience this on the biggest screen you can, you know, and really just sit back and take in all of these incredible visuals that are all done practically save one shot. I mean, it's astounding filmmaking. So even as somebody who is not over the moon about this movie, I absolutely understand why people were on their feet about it.
Ray, I know you enjoyed this movie yourself. What do you think about the response? Are you surprised? Are you encouraged? Are you happy that people are responding this way?
From the what's it called? Chanis Film Festival.
The Chanis Film Festival, yes.
The Chans.
The one up in Chino Hills. Yes.
No. It deserves it. Like I said, this is the best movie I've seen this year. My favorite so far. And then the second has to be what? Black Phone. The Black Phone movie.
Black Phone was so good.
God.
Yeah, we'll talk more about Black Phone as we
like-
get close to that one coming out too.
almost half a year into it.
Make sure that I'm here that day because I have a lot of things to say that I've been building
Black
for a while.
Phone was great.
Yeah,
Black
so
Phone was
like
great.
I'm glad it's getting the love it's getting, because I love the movie. So, and I consider the first one like okay, like it's not something that I rewatch or look back to, and I really like this movie, this sequel. So,
I'll go on a limb too here. I'll say this. I don't think it's going to crack $100 million.
What?
Opening weekend.
Oh,
I mean, it'll
okay.
definitely crack $100 million, but I mean, I don't think it'll crack $100 million opening weekend. I think I'm going to go on a limb and guess around 75, which will still be pretty big for this era right now where we're at. That'd still be pretty big. But then I think it's going to be like Edge of Tomorrow, another Tom Cruise film that didn't open huge, but then word of mouth was crazy positive about it, and it developed really good legs. I think that's what's going to happen with Top Gun. We'll find out. Question is for you guys. What do you think about the response that it's getting from both critics and the audiences at Cannes? Are you surprised? Are you excited about this film? Maybe you're not all that excited about. The original was a long time ago. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Chris, what is our third main topic today?
Our third topic comes from Finn Bacon. Greetings and salutations from Tasmania.
Wow, I don't think we've ever had somebody from Tasmania.
Wow.
I've just read a report that the next feature film in the Star Wars universe will be the Taika Waititi project written by Kristen Wilson-Cairns, taking the December 2023 slot that had previously belonged to Rogue Squadron. I personally hope that this film is a Jar Jar Binks redemption story. I'd love to see what Waititi could do with the character. Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
Oops, Misa P. I mean, yeah, no,
I mean, I'd watch it. I'd watch that redemption arc.
Totally. By the way, did you ever, I can't remember if we talked about it on the show, did you ever read?
yeah.
You've talked to me about it, and it's tragic, and I want to go read it.
Yeah, so in one of the Star Wars novels, there's kind of a meanwhile kind of section where it cuts away from the main story in it, and then it visits where Jar Jar Binks is now, and his life is ruined. And he's like a street performer performing for handouts. People despise him because of what happened in the events of the prequels, and kind of being responsible for nominating the Chancellor to become Emperor. And now everybody hates him, and he befriends a little child. Oh, it's heartbreaking. I hate Jar Jar Binks. And I'm like, no, be nicer to Jar Jar, damn it. Anyway, all that aside, we've been talking a lot about upcoming Star Wars projects, and in particular about the Kevin Feige one. We're all very, very excited about that. But meanwhile, Academy Award winner Taika Waititi, who did some great work on Mandalorian, they announced 17 years ago that he was doing a Star Wars movie as well. And now we're getting some updates on that, and things are moving forward. But what is ever going to happen? Well, it looks like it is, and it looks like it's coming a lot sooner than we thought it might. This comes to us from the folks over at Yahoo Movies, who write the following. The details of Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie remain locked away, but 1917, which, by the way, how freaking awesome is that movie? But 1917 screenwriter Christy Wilson-Cairns is still working.
No, I'm kidding.
What's that? Cons. Cons. Yes, Cons. Is still working with Waititi on the script. Kennedy also shares that Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron will most likely follow up Waititi's endeavors. Okay, now this is the interesting part. This is where people start speculating, because as of right now, I believe December 2023 is when they're targeting Rogue Squadron, right? Obviously, with the lack of any news about it recently, I don't think a lot of us have ever expected it to actually hit that date. But still, Taika Waititi's is so close now because she's insisting, by the way, they're going on talking about Rogue Squadron. That movie is still happening. They're doing it, blah, blah, blah. But that Rogue Squadron movie is now going to come out after Taika Waititi's, which means Taika Waititi's movie is coming out. Could it be taking over that December 23rd, or that December 2023 release date? That's speculation right now. As far as I know, nobody has officially said, and I could be wrong about this, but as far as I know, nobody official has said that this Taika Waititi Star Wars movie is going to be December 2023. That's just what people are speculating right now based on the fact that it was going to come out at one point at that date, and now that Taika's movie's coming out earlier, maybe it takes that date, whatever. Listen, Taika's got a pretty full dance card right now. He's got a lot of stuff on the go. So I was quite frankly really surprised to hear them say that this movie was going to come out before Rogue Squadron when you look at the amount of projects that Taika Waititi has on the burner right now. But listen, if we find out this thing does come out, but even if it's not December 2023, let's say it comes out in 2024, that will still be significantly earlier. Because I was honestly thinking, I think Rob and I were talking a couple weeks ago, thinking this Taika Waititi movie may not come out till 2025, 2026. So even if it does come out like, say, 2024, let alone 2023, that's a lot earlier than I expected. After watching his work in, obviously What We Do in the Shadows, Thor Ragnarok, Jojo Rabbit, what he did in Mandalorian, I am ludicrously excited for this. Bring it on as fast as you can. This is great to me. Chris, you hear this story. Number one, where's your anticipation level right now for a Taika Waititi Star Wars movie? And with the information that we're given now, when can you see this movie maybe actually coming out?
I mean, my excitement level for a Taika Waititi Star Wars movie is at a very, very Fry, shut up and take my money.
Right.
I want that now, inject it into my veins. This is all I want. Because it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun and weird and heartfelt and heartbreaking and still thrive in a Star Wars universe. I hope. I'm saying a lot of things without seeing any footage or knowing a story. But I'm really excited about it. He is doing everything right now, though. I mean, he's doing commercials with Jennifer Aniston and popping on to Chris Hemsworth Fitness to do like breathing techniques and stuff.
He's got Next Goal Wins coming out soon, right?
Yeah, he's got tons of stuff happening. And he's been doing fake Instagrammy influencer stuff on his Instagram stories. It's hilarious. You guys should watch it. He's doing this fun thing called Dads on Tour.
He has a family.
And he has a family. Yeah. So I really want to see this. He just is doing so much, though. 2023, that sounds really soon. That's a year. That's a year, right?
A year and a half from now, yeah. December 2023. So that would mean they would pretty much need to go into production after lunch today. Yeah.
Hi, if you're looking for anyone, I'm very available, and I'm happy to play a very tall Ewok.
I think you would be a great Ewok.
Thank you. I mean, John always talks about how they're very, very terrifying, murderous creatures, and I think I'd do great.
I mean, when I think about very, very terrifying murderous creatures, Chris Carr is
me looking at people talking in movie audiences.
And if you also need a very small Ewok, so see, we've got your big Ewok.
She does look like a little Ewok, doesn't she?
It would be perfect.
Anyway, where's your anticipation level like for this? Because I know you did see Jojo Rabbit, if I'm not mistaken, and you loved Jojo Rabbit. So, what do you think about Taika doing Star Wars here?
You know, Taika really can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. I find that everything he does, my beautiful colleague here, beautiful in mind and body, said it perfectly. That just everything that Taika Waititi touches, he infuses with heart, with soul, with humor. And I really do think that Taika Waititi, you know, as I said, Top Gun is my Star Wars. The way that most people feel about Star Wars, the way that my husband feels about Star Wars, he just has this passionate love affair with the franchise. I don't have that. It was not something that I grew up with. It was just not something that was part of my world. And so it's something that I am learning more about as an adult. However, I feel like Taika Waititi, with his the humor that he imbues every project that he does with, is something that will that has my excitement level for this high. I am going to go on record as saying there is no possibility that this comes out December 2023, and here's why. The film is being written right now. So once it's written, that's great. There's still going to be a whole bunch of rewrites and everyone's going to have their opinion. And then the pre-production for a film of this magnitude, pre-production alone could take a year. I mean, probably for this, because it is a well-oiled machine, I would imagine maybe 6 months. But at the very earliest, I imagine they will begin filming this a year from now.
Right.
I'm imagining. And then production would take 6 months plus. And then you're going to have, at minimum, the post-production on this. I mean, the CGI that's involved in a Star Wars television streaming series, much less a film, is massive. And so I would imagine they're going to have at least 6 months, if not a year, of post-production as well. I do not see this film coming out anytime before mid-2024, if not 2025. That's what I'm saying about that.
The screenwriting process is interesting because you'll get some of these, because apparently they've been working on the Star Wars script for a long time.
Sure.
Long time. So sometimes years, right, that they're working on a script. And then you get this totally opposite extreme. Like there's the really famous story about Cabin in the Woods, where Joss Whedon and the other writer, they literally booked a hotel for a weekend and they literally wrote the entire script in a weekend. And it was there. So it's really weird how that can kind of all happen with a short, long, whatever. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Lucasfilm is now saying that Taika Waititi's Star Wars film will come out prior to Rogue Squadron. Does that tell us it's coming out sooner than we thought? Well, I didn't think it was going to come out to 2025, 2026. So probably, are you excited for it or you're not? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 4. Chris, what is our 4th main topic today?
This comes from Corey, and I'm bored at work. Hey, John,
Me
Chris,
too.
and Ray, and
Just
Aaron.
kidding.
If you can see this back there. Oh, hey there, Ray. If you can see this back there on your island. I was just on Twitter and saw Knives Out maybe getting a 45-day release in theaters before it hits Netflix. I think it's a good idea for Netflix to make money that they need right now. And the first was a hit. I own the original, but always fall asleep trying to watch it, so I still need to catch up. But what do you think of this if it's true?
All right, thanks for saying that in, Corey, bored at work. Look, every once in a while a story comes out where it's just like, okay, yeah, that's an interesting, and we move on. I want to really draw our attention to this. This is huge. Like, this is seismic shift happening at Netflix and their overall direction. And there's a lot of it happening at Netflix right now. We already know that they're already starting to experiment a little bit with not dropping series all at once. I mean, most of them still do, and they will for a while, but we already know they're starting to experiment just a little bit with having week-by-week releases. We now know they are going to an ad-supported tier by the end of this year. That's another big shift. But this, I'm going to tell you right now, is bigger than both of those put together. The idea that Netflix is going to take movies, their Netflix movies, and give them full exclusive theatrical releases. Not this, well, we'll release it in 5 theaters at the same time it drops on Netflix, or we'll put it in theaters 5 days before it comes out on Netflix in a couple spots. No. This would be a full 45-day exclusive theatrical window, which is now the norm for all the studios to release their films in, before putting their movies on Netflix. It is not something they have ever done. It's something that it actually looked like they were actively against. But at CinemaCon this year, while Netflix certainly didn't do any presentation at CinemaCon, there was a big delegation from CinemaCon meeting privately with theater owners behind the scenes, trying to work out deals and trying to figure out how something like this would look. And the movie that looks like it's going to be the one they're leading the way with is Knives Out 2, the sequel to Rian Johnson's amazing first film. This comes to us from the folks over at Bloomberg who write the following. Senior executives at Netflix have discussed trying releasing a few movies with a larger window, likely 45 days, which is now the standard, in thousands of theaters later this year. 2 potential candidates are the sequel to Knives Out and a new movie from Alejandro González Iñárritu. If that test works, the company could release as many as a dozen titles in theaters going forward. All right. They say necessity is the mother of all invention. Desperation is also a pretty good motivator too. Netflix has not been having a very good go of it. Actually, Ray, if you could just look up what is the today's stock price of Netflix. I'd be curious to know that right now. But yeah, they're becoming desperate. But listen, one of the things that we have been saying for a long time around here, if you want your movie to really pop on your streaming service, give it a theatrical release first. More people will be interested in watching your movie on your streaming service if it plays in theaters first. Number one, it gets rid of the stigmatism that it's just a TV movie. But number two, you have a marketing campaign behind it. People see it, people get buzzed. And if they loved it in theaters, they're like, whichever streaming service is carrying this movie, I'm going to be a part of. Netflix now realizes that, even though we've been screaming it at them for a couple of years. But Netflix is picking up on that now. And if they can go and take a Knives Out 2, which, by the way, I believe it was around, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I may be off by $5 or $10 million here or there. Netflix paid $460 million for the rights to Knives Out 2 and 3. $460 million. They ain't going to make that in new subscribers on Netflix. But if they can put this in theater and make like $250 million of that back, just like that, that's $250 million free dollars that they wouldn't have otherwise. And then they still get the benefit of it being on their streaming service, only they're just going to be even more interested in it because it had a theatrical release. I think, glory, hallelujah, the Lord has come. Netflix is finally starting to see the light. They have come to Jesus. They're understanding this is going to work. And I'm telling you what, it will work. Because if they put Knives Out 2 in theater and they put one of Inarritu's new movies out in theater, they're going to realize, then they put it on Netflix, they're going to see bigger debut numbers on their Netflix service than maybe they've ever had. I think this is a great move for them. I'm excited. Ray, were you able to find that stock price right now?
Jonathan told me it was 184 or 185.
Still dropping. It's still
$1.84.
184.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, $1.84.
It was the deal was for $469 million.
$469 million. So listen, they're going to do this. The experiment is going to work. And I believe this. I believe Bloomberg would say, yeah, I think we're going to see anywhere between 8 to 12 Netflix originals going to theaters. And this is a win-win for everybody. It's a win-win for true movie fans who get to see these movies first the way it's meant to be seen on the big screen. And then in just 45 days, you can watch it at home in Netflix. It's a win for Netflix because they're going to start making a brand new stream of revenue that they have never had before. And they're going to reap benefits on the streaming service. And it's a definite win for the cinemas because we got more content now coming to the cinemas, which they're going to love. I think this is a no-brainer. I think this is a great move on all their parts. Chris, you're hearing about this story. What stands out to you here?
I mean, when Knives Out 2 was first going to Netflix, that was such a why for me.
Right.
Why is this going to be streaming? This was one of the biggest films in recent years to come out.
Because Netflix offered $469 million.
I mean, that's when you're like, how high would you like me to jump, Netflix?
Yes.
Okay. But this makes so much more sense that they're going to be doing a theatrical release because Netflix's biggest problem, honestly, is that because of their release system, their shows are not part of the zeitgeist for long enough. They are not water cooler shows for long enough. You watch I know this is always my example, but you watch season 3 of You, and maybe you talk about it for the weekend, and then you don't talk about it.
And nobody else talks about it
anymore. And no one does because there's something else now. There's Love is Blind or there's this other new movie, and you talk about it for that day, basically. And even though on the Netflix app, right, it'll show you what's trending, yeah, on the streaming app, y'all. Not globally, not with the rest of the world. So I think this is so smart because like you're saying, every time a movie is in the movie theaters where it belongs first and then comes to the streaming service, it's already built up that momentum. That's where you get those repeat views and everything, right? So I think this is really, really smart. And I think they're going to make a lot of that money back.
Aaron, you're hearing about this. Do you think, I think most of us in the room think this is a good move on their part, but good to try. Will this actually work, do you think? How do you see this?
I think it's fantastic. Just to give everybody just some context. So normally their release window for Netflix in a theater, like with Power of the Dog and Don't Look Up, is 2 weeks, 14 days. That is nothing.
And they've only done that a few times.
Exactly. That is not the standard. So for them to say, hey, we're actually rethinking our entire business model to triple the amount of time that we're putting movies in the theater is huge. And I know, John, for years you have been saying that one of your big pet peeves with Netflix, specifically on the film side, is that they just don't do any marketing. And I've been having a lot of conversations with people who have worked directly at Netflix, who have projects that are there. And one of the things that they say that they like about working with Netflix is that Netflix's algorithm is so specific. Like they know exactly, oh, you're the kind of person that wants to watch all the reality TV about dating. So we're going to just pummel your entire timeline with, The Bachelorette and Love Island and all those kinds of things. For me, they're like, you like to watch a lot of cat videos. And I don't know. They know that I like to watch.
If it's also a barbecue video, sure.
Yeah, I like to watch, the baking thing. So I'm constantly getting like, I don't know. What
I think I just made Chris cry.
He's gonna cook cat.
Not on my watch.
What is wrong with you? You know what? I'm going to bring all 4 of my cats to your house, and I'm just going to release them and let them eat you while
This is my nightmare.
Oh, yeah. They will sit on your face, and not in a fun way. I went there. So, yes, back to numbers. I got totally lost.
I think everybody got lost now. Yeah.
So them tripling their theatrical window is going to increase the buzz. It's going to increase the amount of marketing that they do, and it's going to widen their audience. So it's not just whatever your particular algorithm of what you're interested in watching will show up. You're going to see it everywhere. You're going to see it on billboards. You're going to see it in all those commercials that you're forced to watch now because you're getting the lower tier of your streaming platforms. But also, if we look at the amount of money, now the $469 million, that's not the cost to make the movie. That's just for the rights of the movie.
Yeah, they handed that to Ryan Johnson and his partners. He said, here's $469 million. So they were like, great, we're going to make 2 movies for probably about $200 million. And we're going to pocket
and
the rest.
maybe not even because the first Knives Out, the budget for the first Knives Out with all those stars was only $40 million. And the movie went on to make $311 million worldwide. So if you think about the cost of the movie being $40 million and then making $311 million worldwide, and now, this paying $469 million for not just one movie, but 2 sequels. We're getting 2 sequels out of that. They can probably still keep the budget of the film itself in the $50 million.
No, actually, I remember when they struck the deal, part of the deal was the budget for the movies had to be at least X amount of dollars. And I think it got close to the $100 million range.
Oh, really?
But which still pocketed them, Ryan Johnson and co., a huge profit.
Well, apparently, Ryan Johnson and Daniel Craig are both set to make around $100 million each for these movies. So, I mean, hey, it's good to be Ryan Johnson. It's good to be Daniel Craig. And, good for Netflix for seeing that there is not just an opportunity here, but a franchise, and for them to use Knives Out and the success of Knives Out to open up their world for other movies to come. And I think if this is successful, we're going to see a lot more of this from Netflix.
It's just funny. For years and years and years and years, the beginning of 2021, Netflix did not do theatrical exclusive releases, did not have commercials, did not release shows weekly. Within about a year from now, all that could be different. The landscape is changing here. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this potential move for Netflix? I'm not going to lie to you. I think this is absolutely brilliant on their part. I think this is a win for the fans, for Netflix, for movie theaters. I think this is good all the way around. I'm just asking what the hell took you guys so long? Anyway, guys, whatever you guys feel about it, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move into our 5th and final main topic today. Chris, what is our 5th main topic today?
This comes from Nina. Hi, crew. So there's the possibility of Alan Horn coming back to WB. Could he become the lead of DC Studios? What do you know about this? What are your thoughts and hopes to bring back this legend in WB? Thanks and bring on the filthy.
All right, just like the last story we were talking about where I said, hey, a story comes, you think, oh, that's interesting, let's move on. And I said, no, wait a minute, really think about this. This is big. You could be tempted to say, oh, a movie, a news story about an executive from one studio, maybe now going to another studio, no big deal. No, guys, listen to me. This is monumental, what is happening here. Back in the day, after Bob Iger took over, Big Papa Iger took over Disney and stuff like that, he understood that we need a czar to come in and run our entire movie division. Who's going to look after our Pixar movies, our Disney picture movies, our Disney animation movies, our Star Wars movies, he of course acquired Star Wars over there, our Marvel movies, we need a guy who truly knows this business. We need an individual to come in here who can run this part of the business for us. And he went and found the retired, in 2012, already retired Alan Horn. Same Alan Horn who graced the cover of Karate Magazine a couple of times. Yes, same guy. It really is him.
Amazing.
They went and got Alan Horn to come in. And Disney Pictures, Disney's movie division, he became the chairman of Disney Studios, went on to produce more billion-dollar films. Even if you take away the Marvel movies, Disney Studios went on to produce more billion-dollar films than all other studios combined. Under Alan Horn, a guy who Kevin Feige said it was the honor of his career to be mentored under him. That is why, for a long time, I thought, you know what? When I heard Kevin Feige say that once, I'm like, I bet you they're grooming Kevin Feige to someday, once Bob Iger and Disney allows Alan Horn to go back to his retirement, sip those Mai Tais. Once they do that, I bet you they're grooming Kevin Feige to take over for Alan Horn. I really thought that for a while. Obviously, that didn't happen, but still. So Alan Horn, of course, this year retired again.
Back in October.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
Man, 79 years old. By the way, I've met him several times. He is still sharp, physically fit.
All that karate.
Still practices karate, as a matter of fact. The dude is totally sharp, great shape, all that kind of stuff. But he retired. It's like, well deserved, man. You go back to the surf. You do whatever it is you want to do, man. You go enjoy yourself. Well, then comes a story that David Zaslav and the folks at Discovery are going to be taking over Warner Brothers. And it's now done. They've taken over Warner Brothers. And Rob and I got into a big discussion because David Zaslav says, I want to get in somebody really good to kind of overlook stuff. And, you know, Rob says, what can he really do, right? And then we got a report from Puck. And basically, they're telling us that David Zaslav and Alan Horn have already met several times to discuss Alan Horn coming on board with Warner Brothers to help right their ship and get things going in the right direction. This comes to us from the Puck magazine here. Horn confirmed that he has had talks with Zaslav about returning to the studio where he made his name, because he was at Warner Brothers before he went to Disney. I'm friendly with David Zaslav, and we have met several times, he told me. That's partly thanks to Zaslav's now famous listening tour, wherein the Hollywood outsider met with seemingly everyone who has run an entertainment company during the year preceding the close of Discovery's merger with the Warner Media assets. But Horn said that the chats have gone further, and that they did discuss the possibility of him helping the company. Now, the report does go on to clarify, say, listen, nobody has said to us that Alan Horn is looking to walk in and become the new boss of Warner Brothers Pictures. Nobody's saying that. It could be on a consulting level. It could be on a temporary, every once in a while, when one company is merging with another, sometimes a temporary head is appointed to oversee all that kind of stuff. And then once that's accomplished, then they step away and a new leadership is put in place. Whatever it is. Whether Horn is stepping in to become an executive, whether he is just going to come in and be David Zaslav's right-hand man to consult on how they need to put all this together, what leadership they need to be in, what kind of support structure do you need to put into place to support your creative geniuses, to make the best possible product that audiences and fans and critics and the box office and everybody around the world will love and get together at. There is nobody better on this planet that they could have got than Alan Horn. And I remember when I got this, I texted Rob right away, who's of course home, and I said, David Zaslav to Warner Brothers. They call Rob back to me as, holy shit. It's like, yeah, this changes the game. Now, again, how involved would Alan Horn be? How involved can he be? He is 79, an incredibly fit 79, but still, he can't. He's already retired twice.
They keep bringing me back.
They keep dragging me back in. How much longer can you deny this man his seat on the beach? But I don't know, but I do know this. I have said from day one, when they announced that David Zaslav and Discovery were taking over Warner Brothers, I said, do not underestimate David Zaslav. This guy knows how to step in, how to support a creative structure that empowers their leaders to go ahead and make the best product possible. And he made that thing so freaking successful that they were able to buy Warner Brothers. They're leveraged to the teeth, make no mistake about it, but they bought Warner Brothers. And by the way, do you see the axe of Zaslav fell again?
Yep.
Riverdale got canceled. The axe of Zaslav.
But do we know it's the axe of Zaslav, or is it the scorn of Horn?
That's right. Well, I think Horn's going to look after the movie division.
I don't know.
The scorn of Horn. I love that. That's a mighty. That's like Isengard and Mordor
Yeah.
combining forces. Who can stand against it? But the axe of Zaslav fell again. But I told you guys, Zaslav is going to move swift. He's going to move decisively. And holy shit, if he does bring in Alan Horn in whatever capacity, do not underestimate how big of a coup that is. And I think this is amazing. I mean, Chris, you hear this story. What stands out to you and what can you see happening here?
Oh man, Alan Horn, you're a lot like my dad because he has retired 3 times now.
Wow.
and he gets bored, and I feel like that's something that's happening here too. When you are that creative of a mind, they do keep pulling you back because Mai Tais are great, the beach is great, but it's always going to be there. Creative endeavors, oh, aren't those enticing? I think this is wonderful, and the internet may recall the day where everyone panicked because they thought you and Papa were breaking up. They're like, oh, John and Rob, stop fighting. How do we have another Kevin Feige? This is how you have one. You bring in an excellent mentor who can help guide Zaslav, but also then help mentor other folks so that we start putting somebody in the position where they can be a WB DC Feige and groom them to take up that mantle and give the studio some GD direction.
Now, again, even if this is something that's as small, I use that in air quotes, small as a consultant.
Absolutely.
Even that to me is majorly significant that Zaslav doing what Zaslav always does. He surrounds himself by the right people to whisper into his ear.
Absolutely.
So whether we find out Horn is going to, for a 1-year term, be the chief executive of Warner Brothers Pictures, whether we find he's just going to take a seat as consulting with Zaslav, whatever it is, this thing is so significant. Anyway, Aaron, you hear about this. I mean, I know you've heard a lot of stories about the goings on in the corporate offices of various studios and all that kind of stuff, but what do you think about this move, and could this be beneficial to Warner Brothers?
Well, I love that he is coming out of retirement yet again. He's like Giselle's husband. He just can't be bored.
I love how Tom Brady's Giselle's
Oh,
husband.
is that
Yeah.
his name?
True.
Yeah, I just know he's like that sports ball guy, and he married to Giselle. No,
The
yeah,
talented one in that duo.
well, certainly the moneymaker.
Look,
Certainly the
moneymaker.
one who brings home the bacon.
this is the life of Tom Brady. You have 7 rings, and you are not the breadwinner in your
Yeah.
family. That's how good Tom
yeah,
Brady's life
Giselle's
is.
like, if you want to go and get a little,
Go play your sports.
go get a little job, and you can, bring in a little bit if it helps you fill your days, honey.
you can make our vacation money. You
Exactly.
can do that.
Exactly. But no, just to give you a little bit of a backstory about Alan Horn, everybody. This is a guy who was one of the founders of Castle Rock Entertainment, which brought us A Few Good Men and The Green Mile and When Harry Met Sally and Seinfeld, which made a little bit of money. But then when he was with Warner Brothers the first time, he oversaw movies like the Dark Knight trilogy and Harry Potter and the Hobbit trilogy. And this is a guy that really has an eye for talent. And when you think about wherever it is that you work, it all comes from the top. I have been on television shows where the number one, meaning the lead actor, is an absolute lovely human being. I did a series with Michael Imperioli called Detroit 187, and Michael Imperioli
From Sopranos.
from Sopranos he's a Buddhist. So he's just like all kindness, all love, all heart. I mean, he was wonderful. And working on that show was a beautiful experience. I have also worked on shows, which I will not mention, where the number one is a raging asshole douchebag. And I'm like, oh my God, every single day you're just angry. And I know that you guys out there know what I'm talking about because we have all worked for those people. There is a reason why Chris and I drive an hour each way to come and work on the John Campea Show, because working for John is awesome and it's fun and we love it. If he was a raging asshole douchebag, we would be like, I don't know.
You.
Yeah. And so it does come from the top. Is he the guy that's writing the scripts and directing the movies and doing the set design? Of course not. So you can't say that he is solely responsible for the Hobbit trilogy. However, these things trickle down. And when you have the person at the top, who comes in and is making great directions and making great decisions, giving great direction and bringing and mentoring and
supporting the
inspiring
talent.
and supporting talented people, everyone wins. So I agree, like, regardless of how long he does this, I think that the man, like Giselle's husband, he's just going to keep on working until they don't let him work anymore. But clearly, he has a lot more to offer the world of entertainment, and I am here for it.
Yeah, the other part about this is just that, Alan Horn, very excited. But it just, again, affirms to me that Zaslav, like, once Horn comes in, does whatever it is he's going to do, and then at some point leaves again. David Zaslav is a guy who is going to listen to the right people. He's going to surround himself with the right people. He's going to empower the people that work under him to go out and do these great. I mean, I am very excited for the future of Warner Brothers right now. So to answer your question that you wrote in, could Alan Horn come in and be the head of DC Films? No, I really don't think there's going to be anything that specific to his repertoire, but he is going to have influence over what happens at DC Films moving forward, depending on what kind of support he gives Zaslav. So whatever it is, little consultant, an executive overseer of transition, a chief whatever role, however big or small.
He becomes the WB Grand Vizier.
The Grand Vizier, the High Imperial Grand Poobah. There's another reference for you. Yes. Of Warner, whatever, how big or how small. This again just reaffirms to me that I think Warner Brothers is in much better hands than it was 12 months ago, and I'm very excited for the future and where they're going. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? It looks like Alan Horn's not completely done yet. Maybe he'll have a small little role to help out with the new Warner Brothers. Maybe it'll be a big role. I mean, who knows? Whatever it is, they're bringing in the right guy. How do you guys feel about this? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with all of our main topics now down, we are going to open up our super chat. So do you have a thought, opinion, or an observation about any of the topics we already talked about? Do you have a question about anything you want to send in and have us read? Go ahead and you can start sending in those super chats now. But before we get to those, we want to thank another sponsor of the John Campea channel here, the guys who helped me get my vitamins, the good folks at Athletic Greens. Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, Athletic Greens. Now, when you get really busy, and you guys know that Ann and I are really busy, one of the first things that you sacrifice is eating healthy. And I simply have never eaten enough vegetables in my diet, I admit it. So for a long time, I've been looking for a really good all-in-one supplement that helps me get those nutrients and vitamins that my body needs. And thank goodness I found Athletic Greens AG1. So what is Athletic Greens AG1? Well, with one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, and probiotics to help you start your day right. And for me and Ann, it's easy. We get up in the morning, we pour a big glass of water and add one scoop of AG1. So many people today are taking some kind of multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb. And it's cheaper than getting all those different supplements yourself. And on top of giving you all those vitamins and nutrients, it also supports better sleep and quality of recovery and supports mental clarity and alertness. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/mailbag. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/mailbag to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And a big thank you to the great folks over at Athletic Greens for giving me my morning routine drink and for being a sponsor of the John Campea channel. Once again, guys, by supporting our sponsors, you're supporting us. And really, you really should try Athletic Greens, especially if you lack some things in your diet like I often do. Jump down into the description of this video. You'll see the links there with the promo codes. Go and check them out. All right, guys. With that down, the super chats are now open. Get them in quickly. They'll only be open for a few more minutes. Then let's get over to it. So, Chris, what have we got people sending in?
Oh my gosh, let's see here. So we are getting a ton of support from Connie. Yay,
Oh,
Connie.
Hey, Connie.
no credit to Connie. That was 24 hours ago.
I still love Connie,
What's
though.
going on,
I still love
Connie?
Connie.
You'll be
By the way,
in
we
my
know
heart.
Connie.
Yeah, we know
We
Connie.
know Connie. We know Connie. Okay, sorry.
From Parth, from Mark Bell, from Cardinal Sin. Thank you
Oh,
all
by the way,
so
Parth
much.
sent in like a $20 super chat badge just to be
Thank
supported.
you.
Thank you, Parth.
From Andy. Hi, guys. You guys were the first to let me know that Riverdale has been canceled. Thank you so much for you guys, but a bigger one to Zaslav. My pain can finally end. Rejoice, Andy, you're free.
You're free. I just don't know what happened to that show. Like 1 minute, I'm watching it. Me and Ann are watching together in season 1 and going, this is a pretty clever little show. It's an interesting little sleepy town with a scandalous murder and people just trying to figure it out. This show's got potential. And then there are wizards and superheroes
and the Betty Veronica Archie thruple.
Thruple. Is that the word thruple? I've never heard that saying
Yeah,
before.
it's a thruple. It's like when, you have a
there's
third.
3 of you.
When there's
okay.
3 of you. Yeah.
All right, thruples it is.
Tom and I have a non-sexual thruple with our BFF. She's like she's like my sister wife, but it's a non-sexual thing. But we share the emotional relationship of Tom.
Sexual one
Ray,
confuses
the
me. Who do
next
you make eye contact
next
with?
badge, the next chat badge for our channel members, thruple. We may put that in there. All right, what's next?
No idea what you just said.
From Sam Fisher. I can't wait for the Multiverse of Madness Assembled to come out to see how the Illuminati stuff came together.
Here's the problem. I lost interest in these shows that they do after the fact because like coming out of WandaVision, when they did the WandaVision one, the making of WandaVision one, the only thing anybody cared about was, let's talk about this whole Quicksilver thing. They never even touched on it.
Yeah.
They never even touched on it.
Well, that's silly.
So I'm like, you know what? If this is just going to be, wow, we all loved working on this so much. If it's just 20 minutes of that, I'm not interested. So I don't know. Maybe some of you guys tell me it's actually really good. I'll check it out. But until then, I'll take a pass. All right, what's next?
From Elizabeth Harado. It's a no-brainer for Netflix to follow suit in putting films in theaters. I struggle watching movies at home. For one, some really suck.
Most
And
do.
If there's a gem like Roma, I'd rather support it in a theater.
I mean, that's really kind of the big thing too, right? Because unfortunately, Netflix has developed a reputation that 9 out of every 10 movies, maybe 19 out of every 20 are absolute garbage. Like absolute garbage. Now, once in a while, they come out with a gem, whether it's like an Old Guard or Roma or The Irishman or something like that. Every once in a while they have a gem, but even then their gems get buried under the insufferable amount of garbage they put out there. And then they don't really do a good job marketing them. And because they never had theatrical releases, not as many people check them out as they would have. So you're right. I think this is a great move on their part. All right, what's next?
From Daniel Dang. Do you sympathize with Ellie or Abby more?
Oh, God. See, this is one of the reasons why I love the story of Last of Us 2. The Last of Us 2 is a brilliant, emotional, gut-wrenching story about what pain does to people. Even the best of people, even our heroes. And looking at the consequences of our actions from different people's point of views, I find myself sympathizing more with Abby. I think a little bit in the story. Again, it's just, I really hope they take that story and bring it. I know we got the Last of Us series coming. I think it's probably going to cover more of the events of the first game, but
for sure.
I really hope they get into the ones of the second one as well. Who do you find yourself empathizing with more?
I mean, it's so hard to not feel for Ellie because
Yeah.
you've watched her grow up, right? But yeah, Abby, it's real hard for Abby. Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's real hard. But then the way Last of Us 2 ends for Ellie,
Yeah.
like coming home to an empty house, like it's like, oh. Anyway, okay, what's next?
From King Tantic. My birthday is today.
Happy birthday!
Thank you for giving us $20 on your birthday.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
It's like going to my grandmother's for my birthday.
Great friends. Oh, Belle is now out on digital, so you can buy it, John. Yeah. Do What Must Be Done, My Apprentice. Do What Must Be Done, My Apprentice.
And by the way, King Canada sends in $20 support. Thank you for supporting us on that level, man. And yeah, I got to check this out because I remember it was our own audience that first told me about this film. And I'm like, I'd never even heard of it. And I think you were on the show that day because you're like, oh my God, let me tell you all about
Yeah,
it.
I had just gone to see it. I was like, it's amazing.
When did it come out? Was it this year that it came out?
It came out, because I was back on the show. So it was in February.
So how does Belle rank for you as like amongst your favorite films of the year?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's very high up there. It's beautiful. It's 2 different animation styles, first of all, which is so wonderful. It's kind of taking the Beauty and the Beast story and modernizing it and really playing with that kind of idea. It's a really, really great coming of age story. It's heartbreaking. I was not prepared for how heartbreaking it was going to be. Logan watched it for the first time the other night because we got it on digital, and he just bawled his eyes out. Like it is a very, very good movie.
All right, you know what? Anne's been gone for a little bit. She comes home today, and I know she's going to want to watch that. So I think in the next couple of days, I think we'll sit down and watch that.
Mentally prepare for the turn, for that emotional turn.
All right, got it.
I can't take
Gut
that.
punch. All right, from Sam Fisher. She-Hulk is 9 episodes.
I know. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. I love that. 6-episode format does not work.
No.
Now, of course, if we find out these 9 episodes are 18 minutes each, it's not going to be much better. But I mean, hopefully they'll be still decent length episodes. But I love that they're going back to 9. All right, what's next?
From Dave XP. Just noticed today that the John Campea music intro has been gone since the studio change.
Yep.
That was a good riff, but I like how we go straight to you guys now.
Yeah, so at some point, the opening music will come back. Here's the thing. The opening intro was actually a complex series of things that had to happen from the control center to make happen. I know you're thinking, why? Well, why? What's so complex about it? I'm not going to go into that, but it really was complex. There's a reason why 1 out of every 4 shows, when the camera would come back to me, all of a sudden the opening theme music would start playing again. I mean, that happened a lot. And so I just decided as producer Jonathan was now getting his sea legs under him for running the show. I did not want him to have to do that right away. An opening theme will return. Just give us a couple more weeks and we'll get there. But thank you for noticing. All right, what's next?
From Fifi. Okay, how likely do you think it is to see Seinfeld return? I would love like one season that continues the story after they get out of prison, but like nothing changed. LOL.
Listen, when you, in the pantheon of most disappointing series finales to shows you loved, the Seinfeld one ranks right up there.
Oh, man.
That was a horrible finale to, some believe, the greatest sitcom of all time to a lot of people.
It made me just hate everyone that I had watched
Oh,
for
I
years.
know. It was so ridiculous and bad. I don't think they'll ever come back to it. Jerry Seinfeld is very happy. I believe he said he's in his 60s now, and he's very happy. He loves his life. He's doing
He
these
has
little
all the
specials.
money.
He has
Yeah.
all the money, and he continues to make money from that series.
I don't see Kramer coming back.
No.
Well, yeah, well, that's been a long time. I don't know. Maybe if they wanted to do one, I bet he could. But anyway. But I just don't see it happening. I just don't see a desire to do it. They still make, listen, The Office and Seinfeld are still the biggest money-making shows in all of streaming. Still. Jerry Seinfeld is making more money today from Seinfeld than he was when Seinfeld was on TV. He has no need to go back to work.
But again, it's not not again, but it's not always about the money in these cases. There was a study that I read that said that the amount of money to reach like pinnacle happiness was $200,000 a year. That if you can make $200,000 a year, anything above that is just gravy, but that is the amount that where you can have all of your needs satisfied. So at the amount of money that all of them are making at this point from residuals, not just Jerry Seinfeld, it's not about the money. I think it would really be about, is there a story to tell? And they seem like they all enjoyed working with one another.
Oh, they love each other.
Yeah,
I played poker with, what's the name of George Costanza?
Jason Alexander.
Yeah.
I've played poker with Jason Alexander.
love
And
him.
he was just like, he goes, seriously, those were the best years of my life, not because we were making great money, but because we loved hanging out together. We loved being around each other. It was, but listen, and Elaine
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
has had more success after Seinfeld than even she's won all the Emmys.
Yeah.
She's
And Veep is no longer
on the air now, but
yeah.
she won so many Emmys for that. I mean,
She's
it was
part
just,
of the MCU now.
and she's now a part of the MCU, so everybody's doing pretty good. All right.
and a breast cancer survivor.
I'm
Oh,
glad to know
that's
that
right.
John can cap off our salaries though at 200,000.
Yeah, because
I think
everything
that's
above
really-
that,
we don't
everything
need that,
above
'cause we're
2,000.
Now
We're
I
having so
know
much fun.
when you ask for more, I can say, you said yourself you don't need any more than that. So
As long as you know what, John. As long once we $200,000, I feel like
think
we're not
that's
going to be
really
greedy. That'll be
reasonable.
enough for us.
that's
Yeah.
very self-sacrificial of you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
I
much.
can
for
get
and
that.
thank you
couple
to our
jet skis.
sponsors for helping us reach that, and it was super chat.
Thanks, Manscaped.
All right. All right. What's next?
From Dan Home. Salutations, John Campea, Chris, Aaron, and Ray.
Hi.
What's everyone's ideal movie theater seating location?
All right. It depends on the theater. If it's an AMC Prime, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's an AMC Prime. But if it's a regular movie theater, here's my go-to spot, particularly if it's at an AMC. When you come into the theater, follow me here. When you come into the theater, let's say the screen is here, okay? You've got the first 3 or 4 rows here. Then behind those first 3 or 4 rows is the main walkway. And then a thing of seats up behind it. I like sitting in the front row of that back section right behind the handicap spots because they have bars up and nobody ever sits in those handicap spots. And I'm able to put my feet up on the bars, stretch out, lay back. It's a great seat. Love it. That's where I like to go. What about you guys?
Towards the back center, unless we're at CinemaCon, then I want to be on an aisle seat because I need to go pee after that 4-hour presentation. But yeah, I mostly just like to be centered up and not too close to the screen. My eyes are so big, you guys. I don't have a lot of peripheral vision. I can't be that close to a screen.
And by the way, it depends on the theater too, because if you're in an IMAX theater, totally different answer.
Oh, yeah.
About 5 rows from the back, dead center. I think that's the sweet spot for an IMAX. What about you? Got a favorite spot you'd like to go to?
Yeah, same thing. Because when we were in the Celine Dion Theater at CinemaCon, when we were watching that terrifying film, The Black Phone, we were in the back, and it was
We were up in the balcony sections, yeah.
Yeah, we were way up there. And same thing with Top Gun. We were in the back, and I felt like I had a really great view. But I'm usually with you. I like to be in that first row of the back section, unless I have Le Bébé, in which case I want to sit on the row so that when the baby cries, I can run out.
Because you are a responsible
courteous.
parent at the movie theaters. Thank you for
Exactly.
setting the example.
Yeah.
All right, what's next? Oh, by the way, and the answer for Ray is anywhere that has an extra seat beside him so he can stretch out and fall asleep. It's true.
Very, very
I'm
true.
not even joking. All right, what's next?
From Derek. Hey, John and crew. I was wondering if you all got a chance to see your custom Lego minifigures yet and what you thought of them. I would love to get these out to you. Keep bringing on the filthy. They look so cool.
I have not seen these yet. No.
I've
Okay.
not seen them either.
Me and Ann are the only ones who are commenting on them.
Oh, that's what I haven't seen them.
It's on Twitter.
Okay, I'm not
that's
on
why
Twitter
for you.
anymore.
Oh, okay.
But they look really, really great. Let me see if I can bring it up in our Twitter feed.
But
Actually.
once you get them, can you
Yeah.
send me images of? I'd love to
Absolutely,
see it.
they're really, really cute. You have a shirt on that says "Hooray for Boobies,"
Yay! Yeah.
which
Which
is
was
great.
the shirt you were
Should've
wearing
been my
yesterday?
I was wearing my
Yeah.
Hooray for Boobies shirt
That is also
yesterday.
Ray's shirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ray's got like a cross and like a
sorry.
cup and his hat and everything.
Oh, that's great.
It's real cute. I like it
And
a
is
lot.
Warner Brothers paying us right now? Discovery? So we should. I'm just kidding.
Maybe they should.
They should.
Oh, that's right. I still have the. You go to the
I'm
wide
just
shot
kidding.
here.
I'm kidding.
I forgot. I still have the Warner Brothers shot
We
up
should
here.
get some money.
Yeah, let's get that one turned off. We'll go through all the other ones. All right, what is next?
Derek, just so I don't have to comb through my Twitter, could you just at me again so I can show it to everybody here in the studio after we wrap? I'd appreciate that. Sam Fisher, 1 of 2. My favorite thing about Walken being in Dune 2 is that he was also in the music video for Fatboy Slim's Weapon of Choice.
Yes,
He was
yes,
so
he
good in
was.
that.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, he
where's-
is such a brilliant.
two-
It's really
yeah.
far
Yeah.
up. I mean,
Oh, it's really far
I
up?
tried to
Okay.
find it.
We'll get back there. But yeah, if you haven't seen, if go to YouTube after this show, of course, and just look up Fatboy Slim's Weapon of Choice video. He is a phenomenal dancer.
Oh no, he world class.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not an exaggeration.
a
He's a
tapper.
world class dancer.
He's a tap
yeah.
dancer.
Oh, I've got a second part here. It's real quick. That song has the lyrics, "Walk without rhythm so you don't attract the worm."
Well, those words to live by. Words, listen, I know, listen, if you had asked me, give me a list of 5 actors that you maybe could see fitting the role of the Emperor in Dune. Or Christopher Walken would not have been one of the names I would have pulled out, but I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, what's next?
From Andy, 1 of 2. Sending in $20. So thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Andy.
I wasn't kidding yesterday about Betty.
What was right before that? There was one.
This popped the first one up above it. We got to go down to 2.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I wasn't kidding yesterday about Betty. She was sitting about 2 feet from Archie and Veronica and probably watched some Smash as a montage of Veronica covering Toxic by Britney Spears plays. It's super based Riverdale.
And then it's down here. Come on.
Yeah.
Your reactions to it yesterday made me laugh my ass off. When I make John watch 4 episodes of Riverdale for $3,000, I might choose this episode. Your reactions make watching this stupid effing show somewhat worth it. LOL.
I am just so shocked that the acts of Zaza fell and canceled this show.
So wild. Well, and is ending it. They're ending after 7 seasons, is the way that it's been phrased. But that's
the Variety report said canceled, but okay, yeah.
Well, you know what?
By the way,
but hey,
they made 7 seasons.
Most shows never even get picked up to series.
Exactly.
And then if they do get picked up to series, very rarely do they get even to air their 13 episode order. And even if they do, they very rarely get the back 9 order to make a full season. And then even if they do, they very rarely get a second season. So any show that has the staying power of staying on air for a
7
full season, much
seasons.
less 7 seasons.
when they seem like they've really been trying to get off.
I mean,
in
sounds
many
like Betty,
different ways.
Veronica, and
In
Archie
several
are
different
getting
ways.
off
Yeah.
regularly in
but
their throuple.
you raise a great point. Make no mistake about it. And all the things we go, oh my God, this show sounds so. There's no other way to say it. Riverdale has been an unmitigated success.
For sure.
It has been a massive success. I mean, for all the ways we laugh at and everything, it's a huge success, and it is what it is. All right, what's next?
From Stubble McShave. In August and September, She-Hulk, Guardians of the... Game of Thrones, thank you, and Lord of the Rings are overlapping. All of derivative shows from different streamers. Which streamer will win the war of derivation? Derivation?
Well,
Thank you. Reading's hard.
So She-Hulk is a derivative character, obviously, of Hulk, but I mean, she's just a long, successful, very popular run in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit of a different thing. Listen, all I know is I'm super happy that we're going to get the new House of the Dragon. We're going to get Lord of the Rings.
Obi-Wan in 8 days.
Oh, well, Obi-Wan too, but he was even just talking August and September. I mean, we've got some awesome stuff coming that we're going to be busy all week. I mean, I think we're going to be definitely going to be doing after shows for all 3 of those. So we're going to be real busy around here, but it's a really good time. And listen, it is still not lost on me how long of a drought we have gone through over the years with COVID and production being stopped on everything, because listen, I'll tell you what, there were times I didn't know if the John Campea Show channel was even going to survive. Like it's hard being like, it was tough on ESPN too, having a daily sports news show when there was literally no sports happening.
Yeah.
They started covering poker. I remember ESPN covering poker. It's like, hey, listen, I love poker. Poker is not a sport. But being a movie news channel when no movies were coming out, I mean, it was tough, but to now be in a place where we've got new exciting films opening in theaters every single week, and now these big high profile premium shows coming down the pike. I mean, we got Obi-Wan starting up, Halo ended last night. I mean, it's a very, very good time, and I'm very excited for many reasons. All right, what's next?
From Jerome, seen any new movies on streaming?
Yes, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. What's that?
I finally watched that Our Father documentary on Netflix.
Oh.
I'm gonna tell you this. I went to Jack in the Box because I didn't eat that whole day, so I got a big meal, even a meal for the next day, like maybe 2 hamburgers, whatever. I started watching it. I couldn't eat a single thing. That thing
I
started making me
imagine.
sick
Yeah.
watching it. So
Yeah. think
yeah.
that would
I
be a
mean,
really
but it was
tough
a
one to
good
watch.
documentary. It was an update, I guess you could say.
High
since
praise.
it's a new
Put that
one.
on the poster. I couldn't eat my hamburgers. It made me sick.
I
Ray
mean, just
John Campea
from
Show.
the very beginning, it just made me feel queasy, just like some.
Yeah, I saw the
Real
trailer and I was like, oh, this
I
is
was like,
definitely, you're going
I
to have to
can't-
be in a mood
Yeah,
to
I
watch
can't
this.
believe that happened.
All right, what's next?
From Elizabeth Gerardo again. If I watch Riverdale, would I enjoy it more with a glass or bottle of wine or an edible or two? I need to know. Also, thank you, Zaslav, for striking this damn show with your axe.
I would say all of the above.
Maybe a mushroom or two,
I was
a
gonna-
cap and a stem.
As someone who has enjoyed all of these options while watching Riverdale, it really is just a choose your own adventure. All right? Now, the bottle of wine, you're going to have a great time watching that episode. Real bad day the next day. Unless you're under 30. Then bravo for you, Elizabeth. How lovely. If you take an edible, certain episodes, you might freak out a little bit. All right? Anytime we're talking about like the Dungeons and Dragons kind of stuff, there's also a lot of musical numbers. I don't know. Maybe that's the way to go.
I feel like mushrooms works for that.
Probably.
By the way, did you guys ever see the Family Guy episode that just like does a big spoof on Riverdale and the
No.
style of show that? It's one of the funniest things they've done in a long, long time.
Do I need to have watched Riverdale in order to enjoy
I
that?
think you'll totally get it.
Okay.
All right, what's next?
From Corey Hensley. I had previously suggested that Netflix could look to doing theatrical releases for select films, which y'all skeptically shot down. But this is how Netflix stays viable and diversifies as a company.
Let's be clear. We did not shut down that wasn't a good idea. It was I shot down that I don't believe anybody over at Netflix has enough brain cells to run together to take that idea.
I'm
That's just
sorry,
the thing.
Corey. We should have listened to you. You were right all along, and we were wrong.
But
Thank
we
you, Corey.
agreed.
Corey, pull up your
We
receipts.
agreed. That
Thank
is
you,
what
Corey.
they should do. I just never thought they would do it. It's so against the grain of this, what their business has been and how they've operated stubbornly. But I mean, it is a great thing for them to do. So it did not shoot down that it wasn't a good idea. It was shut down. I don't believe they'll do it.
Corey
I don't think
has
they're smart enough.
receipts.
So I'm glad you did. All right, what's next?
From I Am Awesome 418. Does anyone recommend the new Downton Abbey movie? Probably Anne.
Anne does.
Anne certainly does. I mean, listen, and I'll tell you what, I did not watch all of Downton Abbey, but when I watched it, I got to admit, I was trying to explain this to my buddy last night. Downton Abbey, there's something really oddly compelling about that show because they take the most incredibly mundane thing and make you as an audience member get super invested. Who stole the silver spoon that was on the table? And like, that's not a literal storyline, but that is an example of what some of the storylines would be. Who took the coal out of the furnace? From downtown. Who took the W from downtown? I thought for a long time the show was actually called Downtown Abbey.
I mean,
really did.
everyone in America did. We're all like, I don't understand why the British people pronounce it wrong.
But it's
Downtown Abbey.
they make it interesting, these mundane little stories, and they make them super interesting. And I got to tell you, then I went to go see the movie with Anne, and it's like the movie was really quite good and entertaining. And I don't know what it is, the magic sauce of that thing, but yes, Anne and I are going to go out and see it. I haven't seen it yet. I think we're going to go see it tomorrow. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. All right, what's next?
From Ray's #1 fan. Hey,
Must
Tom.
be a different Ray.
game day.
Game day.
Just watched the first Downtown. There it is, Downtown Abbey, and I was so charmed by it. Can't wait for tonight. Are you watching it, John?
Yeah, again, the only reason I'm not going to see it tonight is because Anne is, her flight's coming in tonight, so she's going to be too tired to go. But we're going to go see it tomorrow. And like I said, I remember I just went because Anne and Corey were going. Like, I don't know if I told you guys this before, but when Downton Abbey was on TV, Anne and Corey would get together to watch it, and they would get crumpets, and they would put on their hats, and they would make tea. And
Where does one even get a crumpet?
I have no idea, but they wanted me to go with them to the movie, so I did. And I'm like, that was actually pretty good. They make good films. And Maggie Smith is a global treasure. She's an absolute global treasure. All right, what's next?
From King Mike Todd's. Is Riverdale really canceled if it's getting one last season to wrap things up? I don't think people know the difference between canceling a show anymore.
It doesn't matter when it doesn't matter if it happens tomorrow, if it's going to happen at the end of the season, or if it's going to happen at the end of the next season. Like every show at some point gets canceled.
Yeah, Seinfeld was canceled.
Yeah, whether it was canceled because the showrunners didn't want to do it anymore, or because a network doesn't want it to happen anymore, whatever. When a show ends, the run is now canceled.
Well, I think that maybe not. I think that maybe this is one of those things where the word canceled is like a 4-letter word in television, and a show will naturally have its run, so it is ending versus, hey, we're not getting the viewership and people aren't watching this and it's not worth it for us to make it anymore, and so it's canceled. I think that there is a difference between when the decision is made for the show, like Glow was canceled and that was devastating, but Seinfeld ended, Friends ended, Sopranos ended. I don't know. Is Riverdale ending or did it get canceled?
See, I only see it that way when it's like, let's take, for instance, a limited series, I don't know, like Moon Knight. It was intended as a 1-season thing. So
right.
it
So
plays.
Okay,
Right.
so I did a 1-season. So I did a show called Astronaut Wives Club, and at the end of the season, our showrunner said the only thing that would really suck is if at the end of the show, even though we wrap everything up and it has a proper ending, there's no way it could go on.
So it was not planned to be more than one season.
It was never planned to be more than 10 episodes. She goes, the only thing that would really suck is if everybody thought we got canceled. And sure enough, when we didn't come back for a season 2, people were like, why'd they cancel that show? And so there is a connotation in the industry of the difference between a cancellation and an ending. If it's only supposed to have one season, then it didn't get canceled. It was just never intended to have one.
Right, it was only meant to be one season.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Lucky BX. Oh, wait. Yeah. Hi, crew. Do you think there's a difference between alternate timeline and multiverse? I say yes. Loki stealing the Tesseract caused an alternate timeline. Three Peter Parkers is multiverse.
Again, but then Kevin Feige confused the situation even more because at the premiere of Doctor Strange on the red carpet, he said the events of Loki is what leads to what can happen in Doctor Strange, which seems to suggest, no, it's all kind of synonymous with each other. But that in and of itself is a contradiction. This thing is getting kind of convoluted and very messy. So I can see why you and others think stuff like that. I kind of thought along those lines too, but then Feige said, no, one's directly connected to the other. So I'll be honest with you. I don't know that they've got it all figured out right now, to be quite frank with you. So I don't know. We'll see where they go with it. All right, what's next?
From Jay Master.
Jay Master.
$20 super chat.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Jay.
Hey, John, another very important key detail is during Disney Upfront event in New York City, Charlie Cox, Daredevil himself, showing up. Could this mean showed up? There we go. Could this mean he will be in She-Hulk or for the Daredevil series hitting Disney Plus soon?
I can't say anything.
John knows something he won't talk about.
You know what I know.
I do know what you know.
Do I know what you know? I want to know what you know.
Should
we'll talk afterwards. I will say
I'm
this,
a
Jay, is like,
goldfish.
listen, we do know that Charlie Cox is getting involved in the MCU. In which way specifically? There's a few things I know, and there's a few things that I don't. But it's kind of irrelevant. We know he is coming into the MCU proper. He's already kind of been introduced into it. The big question that there's still some debate and discussion over is this the true one and the absolute same Matt Murdock that was in the Netflix Daredevil series, or is this a different, very similar but slightly different version of the Matt Murdock that was in the Netflix series? I still contend that from everything Charlie Cox has said, I think Charlie Cox has made it pretty clear this is not the absolute identical same Matt Murdock from the Netflix series. This is a different version of that character with a lot of similarities. But even though I say that, I don't know that for sure. That's just what I really think everything Charlie Cox has said is leading us to. But we'll find out. That's the one thing. But we do know that he's coming in, whether he comes in at point A, point B, point C, point D. Who knows? We'll see when that comes. But anyway, Jay, thanks for sending that in. Great question. Thanks for pointing that out, man. All right, what's next?
From Film Code Podcast, gonna go out on a limb and say Top Gun makes $266 million opening weekend. Hashtag Hot Toys for Ray.
There you go, Ray.
Is there a Maverick hot toy that they just announced?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think
they've
Tom
ever
Cruise
done.
gives license his likeness because they try to release a Funko of the Mummy, of Tom Cruise's character for the movie The Mummy, and I think that was pulled off the shelves.
But maybe that's because
Because
it's
of the
money.
high
Because
demand.
Rob, in his Robservatory set, right, right over his shoulder, prominently is a Tom Cruise The Last Samurai. Is that the name of the movie? The Last, yeah, Tom Cruise in his Last Samurai thing,
okay.
hot toy. So
Always
maybe he
thought-
does. Maybe it
yeah.
just depends on the movie.
Yeah, maybe it depends.
All right, what's next?
The unbearable weight of supremely moist Canadians.
There we go.
Moist Canadians, baby.
Lost my mom 12 years ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear
sorry.
that.
No one deserves to have that happen. Glad to hear your mom made it through surgery.
Yeah. Again, my mom is not out of the woods, but the part that they really did not think she would make it through, the surgery, she made through. And that was the biggest hurdle. So again, not out of the woods yet, but you can clearly tell I'm in a much better mood today than I was a few days ago. So thank you for that. I appreciate
You
that.
don't tell an Italian woman what she can and cannot do.
My mom's not Italian.
She's not? Oh,
No,
it's all on your
my-
dad's side?
Yeah. See, my dad came over and then went to university.
Was it on a boat?
He came over on a boat. Went to university in Halifax, Nova Scotia, at a university called St. Mary's University, which is still there to this day, and met a local girl. And they got married and then moved a little bit further west, still Eastern Canada, the Hamilton, Toronto area, where all of my Italian clan is. And so, I'm Italian on my father's side, grew up around my entire Italian family. My grandfather, Giovanni, who I'm named after, his brothers, Carlo, Sigarlo, Romolo, Vincenzo, my aunts, Pina, Leonora, Maria, Sue. Now, my uncles, Paul, was real. The 3 Uncle Pauls and a cousin Paul.
How many of them are priests?
None.
I know you have at least one priest in your family.
priests in the family, unless they're still in Italy.
Because you started going to seminary, didn't you?
I did go to seminary, yes.
Oh, so you were supposed to.
It
be
wasn't
priest.
Catholic seminary, but yes, I went to
Okay.
seminary, yes. But no Catholic priests in my family, unless they're still over in Calabria or something like that. But yeah. All right.
Yeah,
What's
when,
next?
when Tom and I were in Italy for our honeymoon, I was driving him absolutely batshit to the point where he almost annulled our marriage because I was like, "Hello, everybody, this is my husband." I was totally Borating Italy, and he was like, "If you don't stop talking, we're done." And I was like, "Hello, everybody, I want some spaghetti." So that's what I'm imagining is happening in your family.
This is so offensive.
100%. Oh, absolutely. I would be the first.
But that's
person.
why when we would watch House of Gucci, and I'd hear people who are not Italian criticizing Jared Leto's Italian in that. I'm like, I'm sorry, but you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because I've got some great uncles that sound exactly the fuck like that. Like, believe it or not.
It's that I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you Russian? Do you need to go find moose and squirrel? What's happening?
Moose and
All
squirrel.
right, what's next?
From Luis. Fun question. If you could be any ice cream flavor, which one would you be?
Tin roof. Blue Blue.
I
Good Texas flavor.
That is a good one.
Very concerned about that.
I don't desire to be
I don't want to be ice cream.
a creamy texture that gets poured into somebody's mouth. That is not what I want to
Now,
be.
hang
Okay,
on.
you know what, John? You know what? No.
I really love Americone Dream.
That's a great.
Oh, fuck. I just had the bell go off my head.
Yeah. I heard that. I heard
all right,
what you said.
I totally did.
I heard what you said.
Listen, it reminds me of, remember that old Saturday Night Live sketch where it's like, "Hi, I'm Dexter's Chicken from Dexter's Chicken," and it's the animated chicken. It's the really famous old. It's back in the Dan Aykroyd days, but where the chicken talks about how ridiculous these commercials are because the chicken mascot talks about how I'll be butchered, then they'll rip my leg off and put me into a deep fryer, then you'll chew me up and eat me. It's like, yeah, no, I don't want to be a food that gets eaten or consumed.
Yeah.
I mean, my all-time favorite flavor of ice cream is, brace yourselves, vanilla.
Oh my God.
I just love that. And all my current favorite flavors of ice cream are vanilla variants. So it's either cookies and cream. By the way, for many years, Erin's name that she went by was?
My college diploma actually says Erin Cookie Lynn Cummings.
Cookie Cummings,
My
ladies and
very
gentlemen.
first headshot. I actually have copies of it. I've saved them. It's like black and white, and it is so cheeseball, and it is a young Cookie Cummings straight out of college, and it says Cookie
Hey
Cummings.
there.
Yeah.
I'm Cookie Cummings.
Yeah.
I
It
want to
was
make
great
it
when
in
I was
Hollywood.
It was great when I was in junior high, and then all of a sudden people were like, Cookie Cummings, oh, you're an actress. And I was like, yeah. And then they were like, great, I've got some auditions for you. And I was like, great. And then I went home. Yeah. Yep. And so I was like, and we are changing it back to Erin, much to my mom's thrill and delight.
It's just there were only calls to work in the Valley for some
I
reason.
know. I was like, oh, where's North Hollywood?
Right.
Where's Ventura?
I thought people were so nice when they'd be like, you should come model. And I was like, that's wild because I'm a character actor that was like, they want me to do porn.
Yeah. Oh.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
it was hard for me to turn down that money.
See, I was just
It
always
wasn't for Rob.
I was just always an 80-year-old Southern woman. I was like, just call me Cookie. Like that's what my dream is. My dream is just to be 80, wear muumuus, fart all day long, and just be called Cookie by all the kids.
Oh,
All right.
man. It's just our
God,
rooming
sorry.
situation.
The time flies. We are running behind here, so we're gonna have to
Let's
start
go.
going pretty quick through here. Okay, what's next?
From JCSC. Hey guys, love the show. What podcast have you been listening to lately?
Listen, I am so boring when it comes to the podcasts I listen to because I listen to tech podcasts. So I listen to like some of the Linus stuff, some of the MKBHD, a lot of the tech guy stuff. I also listen just to a lot of sports podcasts. So the funny thing is I'm in the movie industry. I don't listen to many movie podcasts. I actually listen
I
more
actually
to,
have a podcast to suggest to everyone.
Sure.
We all need to listen to this like right now. It's the We Can Do Hard Things podcast with Glennon Doyle. There is an episode called Burnout. Do you feel half alive? And it is basically about the fact that every day, all day, we have access to the problems of everyone around the world, and we are all taking them on, and we all feel like we are half alive because of it. And it is a way for all of us to be able to focus on our tribe and not the tribes of everyone else in the world. And so I highly recommend We Can Do Hard Things with Glennon Doyle, the episode called Burnout. I highly recommend it for everyone, for our own mental health, especially all of our community out there.
If you are a just starting out actor, One Broke Actress with Sam Valentine is really, really wonderful. Sam is a treasure. If you are a foodie like me, there's the Sporkful, but it's not for foodies, it's for eaters. And if you like improv or musicals or both, Off Book, the improvised musical.
All right. I just said we need to keep things moving. We just spent 3 minutes talking about one question. Sorry about that. All right. What's next?
Casey Mack, not a Riverdale fan, but I think you guys are confused about something. Riverdale didn't get canceled. It is ending. They still gave it a chance to wrap everything up in a final season.
Okay. Yeah. But that's the thing. No, it was canceled. They were told that's going to be your last season. They would have kept going had they been allowed to do it. Yes, it is nice that they were given an opportunity to wrap up what they're doing. But at least according to the story that I read in Variety, they were canceled. But it's semantics. Whatever way you want to see it, the show is ending, and it wasn't on their own sword. All right, what's next?
From Al Renshaw, any idea what the COVID restrictions are for flying domestically in and out of LAX? I am fully vaccinated. Seriously thinking about coming for Maestro at the movies and seeing a cousin as well.
Okay,
None.
so flying domestically, you just have to show that you are vaccinated.
Yes.
And or show a negative COVID test that was taken within the last 24 hours. Flying internationally is a little bit different. When I flew to Canada, I just had to show that I was vaccinated. Flying back into the United States, I had to show that, number one, I was vaccinated, and I had to show a negative COVID test in the last 24 hours. That caused a little bit of a confusion. But flying domestically, just being vaccinated should be good enough. All right, what's next?
From Dr. Bright, John, are you fluent in Italian? If not, do you plan on learning? Also, Ray, how did you become a chef?
I am not fluent in Italian. I can sit down. I mean, I'm like Anne with her family. Like Anne will sit there and there'll be this Tagalog conversation going on. And then when she responds, she just speaks English. So like, I'm kind of like that. I can sit in the room with my relatives and I can understand what's being talked about a bit, but I can't really speak it. I really did want to learn and go back and surprise my grandparents by having a conversation with them in pure Italian. My grandfather, my nonno, passed away, so I never got that opportunity. But so no, I am not fluent in it. I can just
You
pick
can
up on
just
it.
talk like this, and they'll understand what you're saying.
Did you ever see again? Did
Mario,
you see
please?
that other Family Guy spot where Peter just walks in a pizzeria?
That's what my dad does at all of our family reunions.
All right, what's next?
From Film Code Podcast, I've been saying forever that Marvel has needed to explore that 5-year period. There's so many interesting stories that could be told.
Meh. Yeah.
But you know me, I like stories moving forward. I mean, we need to go back to the Infinity era again? Like, let's get everything moving forward here a little bit. But again, if Kevin Feige's doing it, it's probably for a real good reason. All right, what's next?
From Sean Nicholson, hey, John, I know your schedule has been off the past week or so, and I'm not sure if you've already commented on this, but when is the next movie club?
So the next movie club, well, obviously it couldn't happen a couple of weeks ago because we were at CinemaCon. Then it couldn't happen last week because I honestly didn't know when at any last second I was going to have to get on a plane and leave the country. This week, we didn't do it because Rob is out with COVID. He will probably still be out next Tuesday. And we did the first 2 parts of Lord of the Rings with him. We don't want to do the third one without him. So we're going to wait till he gets back. So probably this coming Tuesday, a week after that. So a week from this coming Tuesday is probably when Movie Club will return. All right, what's next?
From Raymond, R.I.P. Vangelis, Chariots of Fire, Blade Runner.
I don't know who that is.
Composer?
Composer.
The guy who the dun dun dun
Yeah.
dun dun.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
I think that might have been the first thing I learned to play on piano.
I think he did 1492 also. It was
Oh.
like Christopher Columbus movie.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I didn't even know. Oh, that's terrible to hear. That seriously, you hear that music to Chariots of Fire? your heart just rises in you, right? There's
What
just
a
something
beautiful
inspiring.
contribution to the world of film that
Yeah.
this person made. Thank you very much.
That was great. All right, what's next?
From David Cabrera, crew, I think Cinemark understood the assignment. The last 2 times I've gone, movies have started within 5 minutes of advertised times.
What?
I hope this is a trend.
Oh my God, listen.
Wow.
One of my favorite things, besides the Top Gun screening, stuff like that, at CinemaCon was when the Paramount chief executive got on stage and told the movie theaters, play less trailers. I wanted to stand up and cheer. I totally should have stood up and cheered, but I didn't. But hey, if they're doing that, that is great. Good on you, Cinemark. Hopefully that wasn't just a fluke. All right, what's next?
From Raymond again, after the success of Top Gun 2 at Cannes, Tom Cruise said that the film is never going to streaming. What about us who watch multiple screenings of MCUs?
I know the interview you're talking about. I do not believe what he's saying is that long after its theatrical run is done, Top Gun will never be on streaming. I don't think that's what he meant at all. What he said to the audience was this movie was never going to go to streaming.
Right.
That like it's like over Tom Cruise's dead body that you're not putting this film in its proper theatrical run and putting it straight on streaming. There was no way he was going to let that happen. It will eventually be on streaming. Make no mistake about that. Of course it will be. So yeah, there you go. It
You're
will
doing
come.
yourself a disservice if you don't see this movie in the theater.
You
I
got to
agree
see it
with
on the
that.
big screen.
Yeah.
The sound is
The sound, the visuals, and it's just All right, I can't wait to see it again. All right, what's next?
From Sashan, how did Taika Waititi finish his Star Wars movie, announced in 2020, first how busy he has been before Rian Johnson, whose movie was announced in 2017?
Let's try this. I'm not sure I followed that at all. How does Taika Waititi finish a Star Wars movie? It's not finished. Announced in 2020, first with how busy he's been for Rian Johnson. Oh yeah. Well, two things there. Taika Waititi's movie is not finished.
It's being written.
They haven't even started it yet. I'm sure it's probably been written. It's probably on like its 5th draft or something like that by now. But and make no mistake, Rian Johnson's is not happening. They still haven't come out and admitted it. But the Rian Johnson trilogy that they first announced way back when, that is not happening. They haven't officially said. They're still saying, Ryan is just very busy right now. So, no, it's never going to happen. I will be shocked if it does, but really, take it to the bank. That movie's not going to happen. All right, what's next?
From South Texas Shark, I went to my local Shogun for my birthday. Loved it.
I didn't know Shogun was a chain.
I thought it was just here.
Yeah, well, by the way, we do got to go back to Shogun again. It
Well,
was
take me, and I need to meet Chef Rigo.
yeah, get to meet
And I
Chef Rigo
I
and
want
have
the Ray's ice cream special.
Oh, dude, I'm just going there for that. I honestly
just
was
the
thinking
ice
about
cream?
that ice cream cake and the ice cream yesterday, and I was like, should I go in there and just say it's my birthday
Every day.
by myself?
Yes.
All right, what's next?
So good.
From Attack of the Mushi, John, I had 6 AMC visits and no Kidman ad.
What?
Oh, the times they are
Someone's
changing.
getting fired.
Where are you going?
Yeah, maybe it's a regional.
And how can I go there?
Yeah.
Because I'm done. Listen, all love for Nicole Kidman. I'm so over that video. I am honestly contemplating canceling my AMC A-list and getting a Regal
Come to the dark
Or-
side.
Unlimited
baby.
and driving a little bit further to go to Regal simply because I'm so fucking sick and tired of having to watch that again when I've already waited 25 minutes for the movie to start. Anyway, okay. Sorry, I'm not
Come
going to
to
go off on
Regal.
that
We have
again.
better hot dogs.
They do have better hot
Yeah,
dogs.
these
But
right-
And you
AMC
won't
has
have to
better
wait
popcorn.
45 minutes for it.
That's true.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
From Jay Master, sending in another $20
Thank
super
you,
chat.
Jay, very much, man.
Elton John documentary Goodbye Yellow Brick Road lands on Disney Plus for a mega deal of $30 million
Wow.
for a hybrid release in theaters and Disney Plus following his final performances and years that made him a legend. We're going to go see him.
You're
You
going
are?
to Dodger Stadium. How did you get tickets?
Oh, wow. Fight.
I was on the American Express website like a lunatic for hours. I was calling up like the card people and everything. I made it happen so that Logan can go see Elton John for his birthday.
I have a friend who works in the music industry, and he wants to go see Elton John. Unfortunately, his wife is going to be giving birth to twins at any minute around. And I go,
Unfortunately.
I think that you might want to just not invest in those tickets because you ain't going to that show.
No,
That's
not happening.
that is real. Listen, I'm not going to lie. I'm not the biggest Elton John fan in the world, but he's a legend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta
go
see
to the
him in
last concert or
concert.
something like him.
I saw him at Madison Square Garden years ago. He's awesome.
I remember I went to go see Rolling Stones in concert
Oh,
like
yeah.
20 years ago. And I'm more of a Stones guy than I am a Beatles guy. But one of the main reasons I spent the money to go see is I thought, I bet this is their last tour. That was 20 years ago. So anyway, didn't work out that way. All right, what's next?
From Kevin Rubio, John, I think you're wrong. Top Gun Maverick will be Cruise's first billion-dollar film with a weekend opening of 170 million. 107, excuse me.
Listen, I hope, our friend Kevin, I hope you're right. I really do. Tom Cruise movies do not open hugely. Like, not even his Mission Impossible movies open all that big. This is a sequel that is 38 years old now. It was supposed to come out in 2020. The ads had dropped for it since 2019. I hope you're right, because it deserves it. Right.
Real quick, opportunity time. What do you? It's not going to make 100 million. Is that what you're
My
thinking?
guess is I hope it does, but I don't think it will. All right, what?
101 million.
You're going to take the over. You're
Price
the
is
Price
Right.
is Right thing. 101
that
million.
Mighty Jane Thor hot toy that's going to be in that.
No. Now, if you want to say 151 million, then
151 million.
okay. If it makes 151 million, you'll get that.
Okay.
You get the Jane toy.
It's funny how you never get anything out of it.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Eventually, I'm going to win one. You just pretty much
Eventually
buy
it's
me a
gonna
hot
happen.
toy.
what do I get for this? Nothing. All right.
You get to not buy him one.
I get the privilege of not having to buy one.
Of shutting me down.
By the way, for the record, we went to, even though Ray lost the Doctor Strange bet, he thought it was going to win 266.
Yes.
We went to Frankensons when I got this Deadpool figure. And I said, Ray, we got to Frankensons. I said, you get to pick one hot toy anyway.
We pointed this
And
out
he
too
never
on the
popped-
show. You
We
weren't
did?
here. Yeah.
Oh, he never picked one out.
And I told Rob, I said, I can't just go to the second choice for my first hot toy. It would just feel
Yeah,
like
you're right.
I'm resorting to something that
It's
is
like
just
saving yourself for marriage.
Yeah.
What was your first choice?
You wanna
It
have a
was
bad
it
time?
was supposed to be the Scarlet Witch from this Multiverse of Madness.
And she was not available.
She's not out yet, so.
Yeah, probably won't
And
be
then
for a while.
I was like, even Ryan told me, who was with us, he's like, dude, you better get something. He's going to buy you a hot toy. I was like, I'm not going to pick one just because it's there. I want to pick the one, right?
This is definitely a Ray thing.
So,
I would have been like, hey, okay.
All right,
Second, third
what's
choice,
next?
Whatever.
From Chef Rigo.
Chef
there
Rigo.
you go. Speaking of,
When I saw John ordered veggies, I said, that's impossible. He takes athletic greens.
I don't believe that John ordered veggies.
you did.
I did.
What?
When they said with
Was this
your
an alternate timeline?
I ordered the chicken teriyaki that he made right in front of us with the
Fantastic.
rice and everything like that, and I had a choice of noodles or vegetables
Oh my
to
god,
go with it.
noodles always.
And I thought, well, I had the rice, so I thought that would be carb overload. So I ordered the vegetables. But when the dish came, I looked at them, then I picked up the vegetables, I put them on Anne's plate, and I just ate the rice and the chicken.
That makes more sense.
That tracks.
Yep.
Nothing against you, Chef. Nothing against you.
Nope. All right, what's next?
From Andy, John, are you saying that Bob Iger had an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people to run the things we never could?
He is our Nick Fury. I mean, Big Papa Iger, God, I hope he comes back someday soon. I hope he comes back. Big Papa, we need you. Come back.
Bring those
All right,
muscles, baby.
Bring those muscles. What's next?
Marla Jehovah, John, close your eyes and imagine.
All right.
You're at Star Wars Celebration, and Kevin Feige announces he's doing a live action
Knights of the Old Republic.
And the first movie will be directed by Steven Spielberg. You're welcome.
Oh, yeah. It's sploosh time. Sploosh everywhere. I will be very, that ain't going to happen.
Does that mean John becomes vanilla ice cream? Is that
Yeah,
what
Yeah, that would be John. Yeah, vanilla ice cream.
Because for those of you who
Splooshing all
watch the
over
show
the
for any
place.
period of time, my wet dream has been Steven Spielberg directing a Star Wars film.
move on.
When you understand his connection to the franchise, all that kind of stuff. So a Kevin Feige produced, story oversawn, and then put into the hands of the greatest director of all time. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much Joygasm right there. Yep. All
And
day.
moving on.
All right, what's next?
From Colton G, the Secret Invasion quote is a misquote. The majority of the show takes place in present day, but Skrulls had infiltrated Earth during the Blip years.
I don't know if it's a miss. We read his quote directly. I mean, I hope you're right.
Yeah.
I hope you're right. If that is the case, I'm very happy about that. If that's the case. So if you're right, I hope you're right there. All right. What's next?
From King Tantic again, I turned 20 today.
Congratulations.
Oh, 20, You turned 20 and you gave us 20, King Tantic. Any advice for life, John?
Oh, wow.
Make it to 21.
Yeah, look, it's the same advice I give everybody for life. And I mean this wholeheartedly because very few people do it. I especially notice this in LA. Like, I have never met lazier people than when I came to LA. Everybody comes here with a dream, but nobody comes here with a work ethic. I mean, I just really learned that real fast.
Hey, but I'd like to point out that you mentioned a key. They come here. It's not the natives. I'm a native. I work hard.
Okay, yes. Yeah. Well, I surround myself by people who work really hard. And that's why it's so hard for me to find good people to work with. But because I've worked with a lot that don't. Anyway, no names being named.
Shout out.
But
No, if you're not here, you might be one of those people.
shout out. But I will give the same piece of advice I give everybody. And I swear to God, I live by this. I have for a long time. Whatever your dreams, whatever your goals, whether they be really grounded, realistic ones or even pie in the sky ones, every single day, do something, no matter how big or small, that moves you 1 inch closer towards your goals. Maybe it means you need to draft an email today. Maybe it means you need to read an article today. Maybe it means you need to try to get a meeting with somebody. Maybe it means you got to practice something. But every day, do something, no matter how big or small, that moves you a little bit closer to your goals. And I have always been very attracted to people that do that. And so, yeah, that is the best advice I have to give you. All right, what's next?
From Austin. Speaking of Netflix movies, did y'all catch the Adam Sandler b-ball movie Hustle trailer? Thoughts? Looks good.
It was all right. I thought it was okay. And certainly nothing. They showed it to us at CinemaCon. No, they didn't. What was it that they played that at initially? It might have been that Netflix presentation thing. But at any rate, it doesn't look like Uncut Gems. Yeah, it looks all right.
Is it a comedy? Because I'm going to be honest, I really am interested in seeing Adam Sandler in dramas.
Uncut Gems, yeah.
Like Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
I don't have a lot of interest in seeing Adam Sandler comedies.
It does look like a drama with humor. That's what it looks like.
Okay.
So we'll see how it goes. All right, what's next?
From Al Renshaw. Disney, Feige, have a good retirement. Alan Horn, WB, backs up cool dump truck full of cash. Hey, Mr. Horn, why don't you come over to us?
Hey, so I hear you're free now. Come on by. It's like, oh, no, I got to retire. So tired, so sleepy. And then bye, Warner Brothers. Hello. Yeah, somebody wrote this to me. I want to say, because look, you guys, I cheer for Disney. I'm a Disney fan. I totally am. I'm not a fan of the job that Bob Chapek has done there. Whatever, but I still want them to succeed. I would love to say this is a Bob Chapek thing. This is, Alan Horn just wanted to get out of that situation. I don't think that was it. I think Alan Horn came out of retirement 10 years ago to help Disney, and then he retired again. I don't think it had anything to do with Bob Chapek. I'd like to say it did, but I really don't think it did. But I would love to see him come back in a serious way with Warner Brothers. All right, what's next?
From Nairman. To be honest, wasn't thrilled about Secret Invasion, but having it during the blip and Skrulls impersonating people that have blipped now has my attention.
Here's the problem with that, though, too. Once we get into Endgame and stuff like that, it's not like the world still thought those heroes were still around because they have all the memorial stuff. It's like, so they didn't actually replace anybody, at least not en masse. So I don't know what they're going to do with this. Again, just because we don't know doesn't mean that's bad. It could be really interesting. Let's see. All right, what's next?
From Raphael. Finally got around to watching Only Murders. 15 minutes into the first episode, I was hooked. Binged it in 3 days. Brilliant. So good.
It's so fun. Have you watched it?
I don't know what. No.
It's
what is
Only
that?
Murders in the Building. It's Steve Martin, Martin Short,
and Selena Gomez.
Oh right, I've seen images.
Three
for that.
people who live in the same building that are all obsessed with murder podcasts, and
As
there's
so
a
many
murder
are.
in their building. They decide to start their own podcast, but they decide to limit their podcast to only about murders that happen in their building. And it's great. I cannot wait for season 2. Actually, all right, what's next?
From Casey Mack. Hey guys, just wondering if you've seen the trailer for the new Amazon series, The Terminal List, starring Chris Pratt yet. I think it looks very interesting.
I will listen. I watched that this morning. I'm a big Chris Pratt fan. I'm unabashed. I love Chris Pratt. I don't care what anybody says. I love the guy. I didn't think it was a very good trailer. I have. You ask me right now, hey John, what's that thing about? I have no idea what it's about. After watching the trailer, I have no idea. I know we talked about Terminalist before when they first announced that they were doing it, and Chris Pratt got attached and stuff like that, and there were some interesting sounding things. But that trailer, I'll be honest with you, it did nothing for me. Did you guys see it?
No, from the question, I got excited and thought that Ray was getting a Terminal show.
I know. I heard it, and
The
I was
Terminal
like, wait,
sequel.
Are you talking bad about my Terminal?
Tom
Yeah.
Hanks and Chris Pratt together in the Terminal sequel. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, man. It didn't really do anything for me. I hope it's good, though. All right, what's next?
From James Wheeler. Hello, everyone. Just wanted to wish you all a great day with a $50 super
Wow,
chat.
thanks,
Wow,
James.
James, thank you so much, man. Listen, it's always so cool when people just want to write in just to say something nice or encouraging or be supportive and stuff like that. So, James, thank you so much for doing that, for supporting the content you watch. We really appreciate that, man. It's really generous of you. All right, what's next?
From Drew Johnson. Hey, crew. Love having Aaron back today.
Aw, thanks.
Anyone see the new Westworld trailer? Thoughts?
Oh my gosh, I did not, but I love Westworld. And I know that it kind of, went off the rails a little bit for a lot of people last season, but I absolutely, I stayed with the path. I stayed with it. I'm a huge fan. And I also love the score. The score is phenomenal. And people in the chat laughed at me the last time that I tried to pronounce the composer's name. So I'm going to learn that, and I will come back to you with his name with the correct pronunciation.
His name is Beepity-boppity-boopy.
Beepity-boppity-boopity. No. He's Japanese, but if I try to do it with a Japanese accent, then I would probably be canceled. The Italians don't cancel as much.
You can make fun of Italians all day long. It's the safe space, I feel.
Yeah, this is the place you can do that in.
So I'm thrilled. Thank you so much for Drew for letting me know that there is a new trailer. I will watch it the second that this is over.
All right, what's next?
From Raphael. Evangelist Academy Award-winning composer of Chariots of Fire passed away Tuesday.
Yeah, somebody else mentioned that a little bit earlier. I'm really sorry to hear that. I mean, Chariots of Fire, that was a movie that came out when I was a child. So, I mean, I didn't even know he was still alive. But yeah, Aaron said it best. What a contribution they made to the world of film. That is one of the most iconic film scores of all time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's next?
From A. Marcellus. Zaslac throwing his axe like Kratos and calling it back to his hand. LOL.
I mean, listen, we said this dude is going to be quick. He's going to be decisive. He's going to make moves, and he has made moves, man. And look, this thing could all go badly just because you do. Like I was talking to a friend of mine last night, poker analogy, you get pocket aces, it's the right move to go all in. If you can go, yeah, but guess what? You still might lose the hand. That doesn't mean what you did was the wrong thing to do. I think Zaslav is going to make a lot of great moves, and it still may not work, but at least he's making the right moves. All right, what's next?
From Ray's #1 fan again.
Yeah.
I got booted off stage at a karaoke bar. I was trying to sing Danger Zone from that Top Gun movie. I forgot the lyrics 3 times. They said I exceeded my logins attempt. Oh.
That's well done.
#1 fan.
Well done. I appreciate that.
So much iconic music in that original Top Gun. Like right from the score to the Kenny Loggins tunes. There it is.
The way they used it in this new one, they use it perfectly.
Yeah, they did. They
Yeah.
used it really, really well. All right, what's next?
From A. Marcellus. Oh, wait, sorry, read that one. Jacob Hirsch sending in support, and Fredo ending with support, too. Thank you so
Fredo.
much, guys.
Thank you so much, guys.
you.
And guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thanks and shout out to all you guys who sent in those super chats. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us here at the John Campea Show, thank you guys so very much for your support. I want to thank the people sitting around the table with me. First of all, right here, Chris Carr is here. Chris, where can people find you?
You can find me on the interwebs, Instagram and Twitter at actor Chris Carr.
Right beside her, filling in for Rob, is Aaron Cummings with Joey Bishop. Where can people find you guys?
You can find us on Instagram at, what's our Instagram? At Aaron L. Cummings.
And of course, sitting over there, Ray Ora. Ray, where can people find you?
Question before we go, John. How do you feel about a trip to Texas in September?
Let's go.
I
Frito pie.
I'll say I love Austin.
Because the
September's
NFL
pretty hot for Texas. though.
NFL just released the 2022 schedule, and the Bengals aren't coming to California. The closest is that they're playing Dallas.
Dallas?
Oh.
I could be. I've
Jerry's
never visited,
World.
Yeah, I've
Have you
never
ever been to
visited
Jerry's
that
World?
stadium. I heard it looks
It is,
amazing.
I have been in that stadium many times. It is amazing.
Okay, it's
Maybe
Ray
look into
Ora
that.
with a 0.
All right, and of course, producer Jonathan back there. Thank you again, Jonathan, for
Hey,
running the
let's see.
show.
Oh, it works. We didn't try today, but it worked.
Oh yeah.
Legend Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan, where can people follow you?
Right here at Sonic if you want it. On Twitter, you can find me.
And again, thank you to him for running the show today. And thank you to all of you guys for being here. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter, simply at John Campea, which you can see right down there. And guys, that'll do it for us. Thanks a lot for being here. My name is John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.